and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of the Rasslin Report. And here's your host, Rated R for Wrestling and Jonesy Chats Wrestling.
Welcome back to the Rasslin Report. This is episode number 4 of the Rasslin Report. I'm joined once again by Jonesy from Jonesy Chats Wrestling. Hi, Jonesy. How you doing?
Great to be here. I wish it was on better circumstances, but no, thank you for having me again on your channel. Looking forward to discussing it. Episode 4 already, man. It's gone quick, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's gone quick. 4 weeks, 4 episodes in. It's been a lot of fun. And what Jonesy's referring to is some interesting news dropping today. Normally, you don't get a ton of crazy news on Saturdays. And the news is of Bray Wyatt being released. And that's topic number 1 that we're covering today. We got a slew of topics to get into, both WWE and AEW related. This is the first one dropping earlier today on Twitter. WWE announced the release of Bray Wyatt, gave him his future endeavored whole spiel that they usually do. And after 12 years in the company, a 2-time champion, he is a 1-time Universal, 1-time WWE champion. He is now gone from WWE for interesting reasons that we don't know of. It's medical. It's obviously some mental health issues he's having, especially after the passing of Brody Lee, from what we've heard. Now, I'll let Jonesy get into it first, and I'll give you my take on it. Jonesy, how do you feel about Bray Wyatt being released?
Yeah, I'm just shocked, man. Like, it kind of doesn't really surprise me. It does surprise me the fact that he's gone already. Like, obviously hasn't been wrestling this year. He's had 1 match this year. He's obviously had some time off for whatever else, but it just shows WWE have got no fear of AEW. The fact they're willing to let this guy that's the biggest merchandise seller in the company, one of the biggest characters closest to the Undertaker we've got these days, actually be free agents, just nuts. It just seems insane. The fact that budget cuts are what is reported, it's just crazy, really.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Now, they do have a lot of money invested, or have invested a lot of money into him, his vignettes, the Firefly Funhouse, all the supernatural stuff, the cinematic stuff they've done with him. So a lot of money has been invested in Bray Wyatt, the Fiend character. He has been gone for a while. I think it's more of a go out. We don't want to pay you your contract because you're not expected to come back anytime soon. So let's get you out of your contract. You'll be released. We'll probably pay you a nice severance. And then you come back when you're ready to come back. I feel it's like that. I don't think he's AEW bound. A lot of people have said the man is AEW bound, probably be the next leader of the Dark Order because of Brody Lee, but I don't think he is. I don't think AEW is going to get another WWE guy when they've already gotten a slew of WWE guys recently, with more in the works and incoming. I just see it happening. I see it more of he's being released. Get healthy, get your stuff together, get your mind right, and then we'll pay you this money. And then when you come back, we could redo another contract, maybe the same deal or less, because obviously it's a cost-cutting measure. Let's pay him a lump sum now, get him out of the guaranteed money he's got coming to him, because he has no idea when he's probably ready to come back. So I think it's more something like that.
I think the thing with it, the fact that he this time last year was world champion, like kind of winning at SummerSlam last year, the title, to go from world champion to be released, it's just nuts. But for me, if he did go AEW, he can't use Bray Wyatt, so he'll have to be a totally new character. He can't use the Fiend. My biggest fear, Anthony, is the fact that they put someone else under the Fiend costume. It wouldn't surprise me if WWE gets some jobber just to use the Fiend character still, because they are pretty bitter at the moment, I'm afraid, in 2021.
That would be pretty interesting, like fake Diesel, fake Razor Ramon type stuff. Yeah, it would be pretty interesting if they do that. I don't think they'll go that route. I think, like I said, I think he's gone just for the time being to get his mind right, and they don't have to pay him while he's doing that. So I think it's probably a mutual thing. He probably was like, you know what, that sounds good. I'll leave. You pay me this amount that you owe me or whatever, and then I'll leave and I'll come back when I'm ready to go. He'll probably take a year off or more, plus what he's already taken off now. I think that'll be the case, and I think he'll come back as Bray Wyatt, the Fiend. I think that's more or less. But if you allow me to kind of put my tinfoil hat on here and conspiracy theory this one up, I think this is just, if he goes to AEW, it's just more of AEW and WWE are working together. I just, you know what? If it happens, there's no way I can believe that AEW and WWE are not working together if Bray Wyatt ends up heading over there. I just think it'll be the case. I mean, it'll make total sense. Like I said, I brought this up when Malachi Black debuted over there as well. They can't be working together. Get the guy over there, get him over there, making him exciting again for the hardcore wrestling fans. And then when they want him, they kind of bring him back.
I think what's interesting, this leaves WWE with no supernatural character besides Alexa Bliss now. Are they going to get somebody brand new to be that supernatural character? Because clearly Alexa's gone a bit more off the supernatural side of things since the fans have come back. It's interesting. We're going into the rest of 2021, and there's no chance of Bray probably coming back. It's just interesting how they're going to tie up them loose ends with Alexa and stuff. I'm guessing Bray's never going to be mentioned. Alexa will be no more Raw on Monday, probably. It's just going to be as simple as that, really, probably.
Yeah, probably. I mean, she's kind of hijacked the whole character, to be honest with you. Like this, her thing. Like even the font for Alexa's Playground is the Firefly Funhouse font. So it's she's kind of hijacked it. Let's get to the comment section. C Nation Dog, I am going to boo Alexa Bliss even more since she stole the Fiend Bray Wyatt gimmick, and the Fiend Bray Wyatt was the one to get released. Yeah, like the little update to the intro. Appreciate it. Jonesy hooked that one up with the voiceover, the announcement. Good job by that.
Welcome.
Yeah, it was really, really well done. Thank you for that. C Nation Dog, why did WWE release the Fiend Bray Wyatt? He was awesome. Like I said, I just think it's more of a cost-cutting measure. He's not going to be back for a while, so let's get him out. We don't have to pay him. We could pay him probably what he's owed, and then that's it. He'll come back when he's ready. C Nation Dog, not the Fiend is released. Anyone can get released in WWE at any time. Anyone except Roman Reigns, probably.
Yeah, he's anyone that's safe.
Yeah, C Nation Dog, not the Fiend Bray Wyatt is released. Anyone can get okay. I'm going to repeat that one. Martin Carrillo, hey Martin, thank you for joining us. If WWE didn't find anything in Bray Wyatt, what could you say about the rest of the roster? This guy was selling a lot of merch. If it's his issues, I respect it, but WWE should have supported him. I'm pretty sure they are. I don't want to be a cynical to think that WWE is like that, especially when it comes to mental health issues. I'm assuming they probably did support him. It's probably a mutual beneficial thing. Like, look, it'll save us some money in the long run with it contractually, and we'll pay you this amount now. I assume they probably work something out with him. I don't think they want to burn a bridge with him, knowing that AEW is picking up guys like crazy, even though I don't think he'll go over there. C Nation Dog, all the Wyatt family members are out of WWE now besides Randy Orton. Yeah, even Daniel Bryan, because he was like for like a little time, he was the part of the family. Yeah. Martin Carrillo, what if WWE purposely released the talent that will succeed in AEW, making so specific calls to do it? Good call. Radar for wrestling. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's a conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat, subject there, but it makes a ton of sense. Like purposely release these guys. AEW will pick them up. They'll have fun with them. They'll get them over. They'll get them back ingratiated with a hardcore wrestling fan that hates everything WWE. And then they'll eventually come back more popular than what they were when they left.
It'd be a good idea. Imagine the pop Wyatt would get if he's in the Royal Rumble or something. He'll come back huge. Like he was in good shape as well. It's really strange. He's in ring condition, yet they're releasing him. But there we go. Let's hope it's the only release. That's all I would say. I hope we don't get any more next week.
Yeah, but it's good. I mean, he's getting back. He's getting into good shape. He get his mind right and everything like that. I don't think it's going to be a long absence. I think he's been out for a while. Maybe he'll be back by Royal Rumble time, something like that. It's going to be like a 6th, 7th month absence, but I think he'll be back. I don't think it's anything too crazy. But staying in the same AEW, WWE vein, here we had a conference call with WWE. Vince McMahon says he doesn't think AEW is actual competition in terms of comparing to Ted Turner and WCW. He does not see them anywhere near that. And he said, let's just, see what else we can give them, being in guys that we'll get rid of and they'll sign because they're picking up everybody. And with that being said, like, again, there's skepticism that they may be working together in such type of conjunction where they have a bit of a friendship here where they use guys, they drop them, they pick them up, and then they come back. I just think it could be a working relationship they have with AEW.
Let's be fair, WWE are making that much money this year. This year's been like one of the record years, so they don't really need to care about AEW. They don't really look at AEW as competition. WWE at the moment, with Peacock and whatever else, they're flying. They're flying really, really high, despite the product being one of the worst it's been in years. Like I just think they're beyond that stage. Like the fact they're willing to let people such as Daniel Bryan, CM Punk go to the rivals. Back in the day, as we say every week, you wouldn't have seen Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart be released just to go to WCW, would you? You wouldn't have been able to see a John Cena in his prime going to sort of the other promotion, if that makes sense. But it's good for us as fans. It just means we're getting a real good choice of variety now. But what we really need to do is see AEW move to Monday nights against Raw. That's what I think would be great if they did that. I think that could be good fun.
Yeah, now there's the phrase "too big to fail," and WWE's at that point. They're a publicly traded company, worth billions of dollars, and obviously with the Fox deal, the Peacock deal, made a ton of money. They're too big to fail. They don't see anybody else as any competition. It's literally like Coke and Pepsi. I mean, do they really in competition with each other? No, they're both too big to fail. So they're too big to fail. AEW is not at the level, not even close to the level of WWE being publicly traded, worth that much money. At mainstream, when you talk to a random person, when you talk about wrestling, they say WWF or WWE. They don't say AEW. So they don't see them as competition, and rightfully so. They're at the point where they shouldn't see this as competition whatsoever because it is not affecting their bottom line whatsoever. They're as profitable maybe as they've ever been in terms of their bottom line. Maybe their stock price has dropped, but it's still higher than it was before, and it'll continue to go up. Peacock probably make it go up as Peacock starts to pick up more steam, even if it goes overseas. It'd be interesting to see how that works out. But yeah, I don't think it's rightfully so, as they shouldn't see them as competition whatsoever.
You look at this W at the moment. You look at this up and coming SummerSlam show. They've already sold 40,000 tickets. It'll be the biggest selling show besides a WrestleMania. That's just off of SummerSlam. And this is a SummerSlam with little or no build. The fans are back and whatever else. W have got a great opportunity now, really, to start right the wrongs of what they've done in the pandemic, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's great. I think the interesting thing will be with it is what AEW will spend to try and get close to W. Obviously, Tony Khan seems to have an unlimited amount of money. If he really wants to make that dent, maybe he has to go to WWE's stars that are under contract and try and get them when their contracts expire, maybe.
Yeah, so the only thing you can do is if you're AEW, try to get to that. You can't even get to the level. It's impossible for right now for them to get to that level. But maybe try to make a dent in the armor of WWE is to try to steal guys, just straight up steal them. But that's a tough ask from AEW because they do have a massive roster of guys that are just there part time.
I agree.
Okay, so let's get out to the comment section really quick. We have C Nation Dog. Alexa Bliss ruined the Fiend Bray Wyatt. He is not an Alexa Bliss fan of her current gimmick. He's definitely not a fan of that because pretty much, it's an offshoot of the Bray Wyatt character. Noob and go, hey Noob, thank you for joining us. I hope Bray Wyatt come back because the passing of Brody Lee hit him very hard. Yeah, I just think that's what it is. I think he'll come back when his mind's right and he's kind of gotten through it. I think that'll happen. C Nation Dog, AW. I think we got all the ex-WWE guys. Now WWE released more wrestlers. There's always going to be a plethora of guys that can always sign. It's just the question is whether they'll do it. Now, I remember Chris Jericho said one time on a podcast that, AEW is not looking to sign every single guy WWE, let's go. But they sure are seeming like they are, even though they said that they're not going to, they don't plan on it, but they've gotten a lot of them.
I think they got some of the top tier talents. Like the people they got, like I think Aleister Black was a sensible signing. I think John Moxley at the time was really good. It wasn't obviously a release. I think the others they've got, I think Andrade, all these wrestlers are kind of sensible. It's the ones that are kind of the Mojo Rawleys of this world they need to avoid, which they haven't done, which they haven't gone and got, which is a good thing. I think, no offense to Mojo Rawley, I think it's as long as they keep signing wrestlers of that caliber. The problem is if you get a Daniel Bryan CM Punk, which they are going to get, you can't top that now. What's the next segment? There's nobody on the AEW roster that's going to be ever close to the overness of them two. So it'll be interesting what happens to that.
Yeah, it kind of makes the roster look lesser than when those two guys come in because they're so over mainstream, especially. Mark Carrillo, is Vince getting too comfortable with himself and his company? Look, AEW will eventually get viewers like Raw or SmackDown by how things are going. Yeah, it's just like, ratings aren't the end all be all anymore like they were back in the day. They don't really care too much about ratings. They don't affect them that much. They do for some portion, but they have these massive deals with these television companies if they get the rights to show them. And it's just like, it's not like SmackDown was like the hottest commodity in terms of viewership that Fox would pay $1 billion for. So I don't think it really matters at that point. I just think it just matters them having the content, and obviously the number one game in town is WWE. So I just think that's just what it is. Like I said, they're too big to fail at this point. Like right now they can kind of do whatever they kind of want to do. They can release as many guys as they want. They're just too big to fail.
Definitely. I think you could give AEW, Roman Reigns, John Cena, and whoever, and that gap's still not going to be closed, I'm afraid, despite the overness of them two.
Yeah, financially, it's not gonna be the same thing. Like I said, you talk to anybody in the street, wrestling. Oh, do you mean WWF or WWE? That's what they're gonna say. It's just that's the same.
It is basically thing, TNA versus WWE again, isn't it? It's basically Impact Wrestling versus WWE. That kind of level, really. You could say AEW. They have got national television platform TNT and stuff, but the gap is just too big, I'm afraid.
Yeah, and it's just they can't make the same mistakes as Impact, which is signing a bunch of old WWE guys and then trying to go head to head with them, which was a major disaster. Let's see what else we got in the chat. C Nation Dog, how has Nia Jax not been released by WWE? I don't want anybody to lose their job, but Nia has injured a lot of wrestlers. I think that's a kind of maybe a little bit of family stuff there. Maybe she's
you hit the nail with a hammer, mate. It's money. You're on the money with that comment. It's The Rock. I think sort of can't say anymore. Really.
Yeah, she's pretty protected because of who she's related to. Yeah. Silk Game Mistake, how you doing? Thank you for joining us. Evening, gentlemen. In your opinion, of all the releases WWE have made in the last 18 months, who do you think WWE will regret releasing the most in the long run? I honestly don't think any of them. I don't see, to be honest with you, like for me, Andrade, the fact that he just has such a hard time with the English language, I don't think he'll get over as well. So I think Santos Escobar is a much bigger star than he is. Aleister Black, Malachi Black, I don't see the big appeal that much from him. I think he's solid, but I think he's very niche, and I don't think he's going to get over to the degree people think he will, especially mainstream. And I just don't think they really have anybody to release that they're really going to regret that much. I don't even think Daniel Bryan really, because he's not moving the needle like he used to. They had lightning in a bottle with Daniel Bryan during the Yes movement. He's still over, but it's not the same. It's not a needle mover. Yeah, I don't think anybody, to be honest with you. What about you, Jonesy?
I think for me, I'm going to disagree. I think Malachi Black, I think he's got the potential to do that supernatural gimmick that no one else can kind of do. I think he's got the whole social media thing. The fact he does his own vignettes is pretty cool. The gimmick may be kind of a bit limited in parts, but he's got some great ability. He just wasn't given that chance really besides NXT to show what he can do, but he's not going to close the gap to WWE either way, that's pretty sure. But
yeah, he's not the guy.
The big one is Daniel Bryan, because ultimately he is the one that WWE probably wanted to keep. Like, I'm sure that they'd rather have him not have him really, but he's far better in AEW than he will be in WWE, I think, the time he's going to get.
Yeah, like I said, I don't see the big appeal in him, like mainstream wise, and like really like a moneymaker. I mean, yeah, he's cool and all, but I don't really see him as up to that level. But let's get to the next thing in the chat. Mark Carrillo says it's not Alexa Bliss's fault that Bray got released or his gimmick was given to her. It all falls in WWE hands, and that's it. True story.
Yeah, it's not Alexa's fault at all. She's nothing to do with it.
Yeah, they give it to her, and then what's she gonna say? No, you know what I'm saying? Like, she can't really just say no. They give her the gimmick. See Nation Dog, I thought The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, and Aleister Black were the next Undertaker, but now they're both released. WWE, I not know who is the next Undertaker. I don't think there is going to be a next Undertaker. Yeah, there's not going to be a next Undertaker who's going to have a run like that. But they can have guys that kind of run that whole supernatural kind of line that he did. Vince McMahon has released too much wrestlers this year, but there'll probably be more wrestlers released this year too. Yes, he's not hurting financially from it. He's only benefiting financially from it anyways. Because he has all this money getting from, Peacock and Fox and all that. He's just making a ton of money that, it's not the same as it was before. Plus, he doesn't believe in all these guys like he believed in his guys that he previously had. So Bray was reportedly booked for an August TV appearance.
Oh, interesting. Let us know in the comments whether that was WWE. It must have been WWE, obviously, but yeah, I'm not surprised really. SummerSlam, you'd thought he would come back and done something, but yeah, obviously not. Plans change as always.
Yeah, always doing WWE. Marker, the only WWE game that The Fiend will be in is the most broken game in history, WWE 2K20. Yeah, I mean, that kind of sucks. He still might be in 2K22 because of the timing of his release. He may still be in it. C Nation Dog, which WWE released is more shocking, Daniel Bryan or the Fiend, Bray Wyatt? I think The Fiend by far is more shocking.
100%. They sort of Daniel Bryan's contract. They let go. The Fiend, it's just sort of at a very late stage of that. The Fiend be off TV now and have one match this year for quite a long time. It's surprised really. I think the fact that Nick Khan's been so cutthroat and within WWE this year that I'm surprised it's gone on so long. In all honesty. Yeah,
you got to make a good point there. He has been pretty cutthroat. C Nation Dog, Alexa Bliss turning on the Fiend Bray Wyatt was pointless because it went nowhere. Yes, it definitely was. Because I guess they assumed that he wasn't just going to kind of like not want to do anything anymore, or they're going to have to take time off. It is what it is. Things change. Mark, I know it's not Alexa Bliss's fault, but in kayfabe, it's because she ruined the Fiend. A lot of boo hers the days on Raw. Yeah,
I think people are booing the doll. I don't think they're booing her so much. It's the doll. The doll is the most stupid thing ever. I'm sorry, like I don't want to go on a rant about the doll, but it's watching wrestling for like 20 years, however long I've watched it. It's the most stupid thing I've ever seen. Like there's just no longevity with it. It's just ridiculous.
It's utter garbage. It really is.
And the fans get muted while it's on as well.
Yes. And they pump in like cheers. Yeah. Marker, I already imagine Sin Cara coming back to WWE with his botchy moves by 2024.
He'll have a feud with Reggie. That's going to be the plan. You've heard it first here.
Two trampoline guys getting in the ring. Yeah. We'll see that. Drip. My cousin Eric's still trying to get that over, and it's not going to happen. See Nation Dog, WWE 2K22 is super mad right now by WWE. Yeah, it should be pretty interesting how that works. See Nation Dog. Vince McMahon has too much money but wants to make more money. You can never have enough money. Is what it is. I mean, when you have money, you want to make more money. Silk, yeah, he was booked to appear for WWE according to Sean Ross Sapp.
Wow, interesting.
Mark Carrillo, doesn't Bray Wyatt's character feel more WWE like, or is it just me?
I think it kind of is like sort of everything. They kind of that whole kiddie PG type thing kind of fits with Bray. I think if he did go to an AEW, not like with Bray Wyatt, it could be quite interesting to see how dark he could get because this guy's creativity is excellent.
Yes, it'll be pretty interesting. Giving him free reign over his complete character and how he would book it. It'll be pretty interesting how they would work. But again, he can't use a ton of it because a lot of it's already copyrighted by and owned by WWE. So it'd be tough. He'd be just running around with a last name Rotunda, and dude's trying to do something with that. It'd be pretty interesting. All right, so with that done, Vince McMahon does not think AEW is competition, nor should he at this point, anyways. We're getting to the next thing here, and it is the return of Sasha Banks. Show you what happened on Friday Night SmackDown. All right, Sasha Banks is back. The boss is back. She helped out Bianca Belair on Friday Night SmackDown. Super huggy, super friendly with the woman that beat her at WrestleMania for that SmackDown Women's Championship. Then later on the night, would tag with her, win the match, be super happy, dancing around, and then go turn on Bianca Belair, setting up probably a match at SummerSlam like we all thought was going to happen, but we're finally getting it. What do you think, Jonesy, about her being back and doing a double turn in the same night?
I really liked it. I really thought when they were going to the freeway, like the start of that segment, when it was just sort of Bianca, Zelina, and Carmella, I thought this is awful. This is dying on its feet. They really need to get Sasha out there. The fact Sasha came out was a nice surprise. I love the fact that Bianca's so naive. She doesn't realize Sasha's going to turn on her. It's just hilarious. But this was great. This is exactly what they need to do. They've only got 3 weeks now to SummerSlam, basically. So for me, this was the time to do it. And this is a money match at SummerSlam. I'm looking forward to seeing it. If they want to up the ante, make it hair versus hair. That's what I'd love to see. But I think that'll be next month, if in all honesty, they can do it.
Be pretty interesting to see the female hair versus hair match. That'll be actually pretty interesting if they were to do that. One thing I want to point out that I did it on my SmackDown review. I love the sell of the bank statement by Bianca at the end of the show when the turn happened. She really was looking like she was fighting for her life, and it was smart on her part to sell it that way because it kind of amplified the whole segment for me. I thought it was good stuff. Her turning back to back. I mean, you all knew it was going to happen, but I wish they would have went with the Bianca turn rather than the Sasha turn. They could have been more surprising to everybody there. And I think Bianca as a heel may be a better bank on, no pun intended, than Sasha as, you know, a heel champion. I would rather see Bianca as the heel champion right now because I think her babyface run has been kind of meh.
You got your Attitude Era Vince Russo booking hat on there, haven't you? That's for sure. But that would have been cool. But yeah, for me, I think it's great to see her back. Obviously, she was in the main event WrestleMania Night 1 this year, so she's vitally a great addition to SmackDown. But this is going to be a great match at SummerSlam. But for me, Bianca needs to drop the belt. Sasha has to win it this time. Sorry, I'm going to put that there now early.
Nah, I totally agree with you that she needs to win that belt off of Bianca at SummerSlam. C Nation Dog, I admit one thing: Lily is way worse than Alexa Bliss. If they took Lily away, I like Alexa Bliss tiny bit.
Okay.
I think we all would like her a little bit better without that stupid ass doll. C Nation Dog, if I was Vince McMahon, I'd be thankful for the money I have. He is, but he still wants more. It's just the nature of the beast, man. That's just the way it works. Martin Carrillo, how would you guys fantasy book Lily winning the 24/7 title? Jonesy, I'll let you take this one.
Reginald does a flip and then he slips and then Lily just drops from the ceiling and pins him. It's going to be as stupid as that. That's kind of what I'd expect from WWE. And then Lily's then got the belt. Like she's literally sort of feuding probably with just like a crisp packet or something, or chip packet on the floor or something for a year or something. Probably it'd be something ridiculous.
I would probably have Reginald do his jump into the ring, but slip on a banana peel as soon as he lands, and then the lights cut out. He's being covered by a massive Lily, like she's become supersized, and that's why he's not able to kick out of it. And then she's able to change in size, you know, as she has matches.
I like it.
I think they'd be a little bit more interesting.
Can I add one more layer to it as well?
Yeah.
Lily will invite Reginald to a dance, like the White Castle of Fear, and it'll be basically like a ballroom dance, and then it ends up with Lily pinning him. Like that. That's good. Reginald's smart enough to realize that it's a setup, basically, aka Vader versus Sting at that event.
Classic stuff, man. Wow, that's a good one. I love White Castle Fear. We did a Super Bowl retro review, one of our early retro reviews, and it was the White Castle Fear. It's good stuff, man. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Most ridiculous I've ever seen on wrestling. C Nation Dog, the SummerSlam contract signing should have been the main event segment of SmackDown.
I agree. It's your world title. It was a bit of a mess. It's got Baron Corbin and Finn a match out of it, which is a positive. But it was a bit chaotic to say the least. But yeah, I think it should have been the main segment. It should be the go home segment. But saying that, the Sasha Banks thing, that's the biggest thing coming out of this week's SmackDown. So it's probably right. Yeah,
definitely. Mark Carrillo, the boss. You mean Vince? I don't know. With so many name changes they do, I guess call her the Blueprint, right?
Yeah, they could. Never know.
They definitely could. Yeah, I mean, she says she's like pretty much like, you know, the top thing there and everything. You know, the stuff she said on the Austin podcast and how she thinks of herself and everything like that. C Nation Dog, Bianca Belair should have turned heel. Her gimmick speaks a heel. Yes. It definitely does. The hair stuff, the EST, the kind of sassiness that she has, if it lends itself more to a heel character than a babyface. Sasha Banks should have stayed the babyface. She is over. I don't like Sasha's babyface. I think she's a natural heel too. So you have a problem. You have two kind of like natural heels in Bianca and Sasha. So it's kind of like, you know, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't with either one of them. But for surprise fact, I think they should have won Bianca as the heel.
They're doing amazing.
Yeah. Mark Carrillo, I think WWE thinks too goofy on booking their babyfaces nowadays.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. They haven't got anybody that's really credible as a heel other than Roman Reigns. So the heels these days aren't dastardly, which is a shame, really.
Yeah, they're not real like bastard heels. They're just
they're
like I really like Pac, the bastard gimmick because it's very malicious and it's very calculated and very the way it is very it's very aggressive. I think they need more heels like that. Rather than kind of what they got. And babyface needs to stop being so happy-go-lucky, kind of just happy to be here type of thing. Fight anybody that comes along. Alexa Bliss is now a babyface, or is she a babyface or a heel because she's feuding with Eva Marie, who is a heel but acts like
she's a babyface.
Yeah, she's a babyface now.
Yeah, she's a babyface. It's a full babyface turn. That Eva Marie feud is just hilarious in parts.
It is pretty bad. Yeah. What if all this time the Undertaker was Lily's father?
Wow,
good one. That's a good one. That's
almost as bad as the Greater Power was Vince McMahon, isn't it? Let's be fair. It's going back to that kind of thing, Martin. But no, please don't put any ideas in the head. Already, please don't tweet that.
That would actually be kind of interesting. I'm not gonna lie to you though; it would be kind of interesting. It'd be terrible, but it'd be interesting at least.
If it was a real wrestler portraying the doll, then fine. But if it's just literally a doll, then the Undertaker's in charge of a doll. Like he made a doll.
Well, like I said, they could supersize her, and then somebody can get inside the doll suit and actually wrestle like that. They could do that.
I guess it could go anyway.
See, Nation Dog, Reginald's name is just Reggie now. I hate that. Yeah, I call him Reg personally, but yeah, I hate the fact that his Titantron says Reginald, but they were calling him Reggie. Like that's his name.
Don't surprise me. I think the thing with that was a silly move to put him in that match on SmackDown like straight away, and then it's like basically a disqualification, even though it's like no rules.
Yes,
it's just what? Come on.
A belt that can be defended 24/7, anywhere, any place, anytime, and it has disqualification ending. Martin Carrillo, thoughts on Finn now? People say he looked stupid last night. Honestly, at least he's still being used, right? He did look kind of like an afterthought. It was kind of pointless, right? Like, so why put him in there if it was all just going to lead to Cena versus Reigns anyways? And the way it is like it kind of shits on Finn Balor even more. The fact that Adam Pearce is like, I know it says Finn versus Reigns, but Cena signed it, so it's good for me. So kind of just shits on Finn, to be honest with you.
I think it was just a tease really for sort of the pay-per-view after Cena goes home. That's kind of what I got there. Just got that tease in there. But yeah, it did make Finn look like an idiot. He wasn't the cool guy we've seen on NXT, that's for sure.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't. It kind of reverted back to what he was previously before his second NXT run. Kavion Martin, hey Kavion, how you doing? I hope Sasha wins, Bianca goes to Raw, and Tony Storm starts feuding with Sasha for the title. What do you think about that one?
And that could be a money match. That'd be really, really good. I forgot about Tony Storm actually, to be fair, because we didn't see her this week. That would be a good match though, because they're going to need opponents, that's for sure, unless they're going to do this program again. Yeah,
and I would like to see Sasha versus Zelina Vega as well.
That could be fun.
Yeah, it'd be fun on the mic. That one would be pretty interesting. Dom Foxell, hey Dom, thank you for joining us in the chat. Bianca's a better heel when in a program with Bayley and Sasha. Can't blame WWE for that.
No, you can't. I guess you can't blame them for that. But they just don't want to overdo this match because this has got a great opportunity to be a really good series. Like, I just don't want to see this every single month like we're seeing the Rhea Ripley Charlotte match. I just think that let's have it at SummerSlam, delay it a bit, and then you could have it again at WrestleMania. It'll be hot again by that point. Yeah.
Don't continuously give it to us like nonstop. Kind of have breaks in between, so at least it has the illusion that it's fresh.
Definitely.
Silk, when Bianca turns heel, they should have use her hair as a weapon in every match, just like she did in NXT. Yeah, it's the whole point. Like the hair itself, when she uses it, it's not really like a babyface thing. If you look at it psychologically, it's more of a heel thing because it's an object that's not supposed to be used. Kind of.
I think she could be so good as a heel though. Like, imagine the promos. Like, she like totally goes against the fans and doesn't thank them for stuff. I think it could be really condescending. I think that'd be great to see.
Yeah, I think she's a way better heel. I think her personality, at least on camera, lends itself more to a heel. Martin Carrillo, Sasha's a good seller, and people don't really appreciate that. She is, because a lot of the times everybody's kind of wondering if she was hurt. A lot of the times, she kept getting hurt too much. People were thinking that because the bump she was taking in matches, but I think it was just her, the way she sells them.
No, I agree. I think it's she's just so good. It's great to see it back.
It is definitely good to have her back. C Nation Dog, not going to waste my money. Impact Wrestling Homecoming because I look at spoilers, so it's pointless, and Impact Wrestling may get less money because of spoilers.
I guess that's your choice if you want to watch a pay-per-view or not, but yeah, it's better when it's live. I agree. Like, generally, live pay-per-views are much better.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to have pay-per-view that's not live. Yeah. Review Geek, hey Review Geek, thank you for joining us. Can Bray Wyatt recreate himself? Let's just say wherever he goes next, he will thrive. He is an encyclopedia of a dark universe in his head, and if Jericho can master recreation, Bray Wyatt too could. Okay, I mean, yeah, he could definitely, but the problem is he can't use the same name. And I think that hurts him. Now, Aleister Black didn't have that much of a established run as Aleister Black, where you could kind of say like, oh, Malachi Black kind of sucks because it's not Aleister. And Andrade gets to keep his first name. He's got to change his name completely. And he's such a character-based guy. I think it might be tougher for him.
I think the key thing with it is if Bray really wants to wrestle. That's the thing. We don't know really with Bray if this is Bray giving up on wrestling because of what's gone on, the trauma and whatever else. So if he does want to go back to wrestling, then it's fine. But I think he's a WWE guy. Like I honestly can see him coming back to WWE on a lower contract. It's all about reducing money they're paying people at the moment, it seems.
Yes, it does. It seems like they've kind of realized that they're overpaying guys in their estimate, that they are paying guys way too much for what they're getting out of them and how much money they're making off of them. So business-wise, it makes sense. It may not be the nicest thing in the world, but you don't become a billionaire being nice. C Nation Dog. It's sad. Chad Gable and Otis going for the 24/7 champion. Now Otis was Money in the Bank holder last year at this time. Yes. Why are they not involved in the tag team stuff? I don't know. They should be fighting the Usos as well. I mean, the Usos are champs. Should be fighting everybody rather than just being in the one Rey Mysterio Dominic. They could have, you could break that up a little bit by having the Alpha Academy challenge for those titles or have matches against the Usos and stuff. I
agree with your points. I think it's a real shame to see him. I really enjoyed the work of Chad Gable. I think they've done a great job rebuilding Otis since he dropped the briefcase. But I hope they're not going to be in the 24/7 title every single week because I think it's a real waste.
Yes, definitely.
Particularly Chad Gable. He's incredible. He's so good.
All right, so let's get to the next thing real quick before we get to the comments. So we have a lot of things to get into. Queen of the Ring tournament that's been going around, circulating around the internet. They're planning on having a Queen of the Ring tournament. Everybody's kind of lamenting it because they all know Charlotte Flair is going to win it.
I don't think she'll win it. Like, let's break it down. The Queen of the Ring tournament. The company's obviously planning this tournament. It's going to start on the 8th of October. It'll be SmackDown. It'll start on, and also be 11th October. It finishes in Saudi Arabia, which is crazy. The history of Saudi Arabia. They don't like women and whatever else. But for me, it could be a great tour. Really hope it elevates somebody. But Charlotte winning it, she does need the elevation. So it'd be great to see somebody like a Toni Storm or a Mia Yim come back and win it. Really, I think that could be a great platform for them.
Yes, it's got to be set up as the way the King of the Ring was. They were supposed to set up somebody that was kind of there in the mid card, ready to make the jump to the main event scene. And that's what it's got to be used for. It cannot be given to an established star because they don't need it, especially in the women's division. It's been kind of lackluster that they need to kind of just work it better and have this set up as a way to give a platform to somebody who's in the middle that could really make the jump to the top. It's a way you build new stars and keep that kind of merry-go-round of champions going and opponents for champions going. All right, so Mark Carrillo says Nikki ASH would have worked if the same promos of hers wouldn't have been used 1,000 times in WWE programming.
I agree. I think the thing with it, as we said on last week's show, the whole origin of the character, it's a Vince McMahon get behind, if that makes sense. It's one of them things where it's designed for kids. That's the whole point of it. But the fact she's getting actually booed, like I heard at a couple of house shows she got booed. But you wouldn't know because they're piping crowd cheers on every single episode of Raw and SmackDown. But it's a shame because she's a great talent. I've enjoyed seeing her get the belt back. But she's out of a league against Charlotte and Rhea Ripley, I have to say it.
Yeah, definitely. Now it's obviously a gimmick that he wants to be over because he could probably sell merchandise off of it. And that's why he wants to action figures and every kind of thing, the cape, the mask, you can sell all that stuff. So that's why he wants it to get over. And if it's not going to get over, it's not going to get over. I mean, you can't do anything about it. Silk, I like the fact that they kayfabed Reggie losing his French accent.
Yeah, it does surprise me. It's attention to detail. Come on, let's be fair. I've got a quick point. Going back on Nikki ASH quickly while I remember it. Would you think it would be clever for them to do this whole... I'm looking at it as kind of Batman, like a female version of Batwoman almost. Would it be a good idea to have Alexa Bliss almost as like the Harley Quinn to that? I think that could be a good program eventually if WWE did it.
That would be pretty cool. Like I wanted to see them together as like kind of like the anti-hero and the hero type of thing. So I would have rather them see them as a tag team and then eventually kind of venture off and face each other at the end. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Because it will have the comic book feel to it.
It would definitely.
C Nation Dog, I didn't know you could steal someone's contract and just sign it and take his place. Yes, it's an interesting thing. It's a loophole when it comes to legal stuff. You can actually kind of just jump in anywhere you want and sign a contract and it's yours. It's a ridiculous concept. It really was. And the way it was done was just, it seemed like so much just to get to the same point we all knew we were going anyways.
I agree. I think it's just one of them things. It's just filler. You just got to laugh at the comedy. We're going to get a great SummerSlam match out of it though, which is the positive really. What
I think they should have done if they're going to go to this point is have Corbin actually sign it because we got a massive pop from everybody in the crowd, and then obviously it'd be a void contract, and then you could just go with maybe do a triple threat: Cena, Corbin, and Finn Balor to see who faces Reigns or something like that.
I really thought it was going to be a case that Roman had paid Corbin to take Finn out. That's what I really kind of thought that it'd be a cheap way for him to get money. But the fact they're meant to be turning Corbin a babyface, it was a really strange way of going about it. It didn't really stack up with what we've seen in recent weeks, where he's befriended such people as Kevin Owens and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Didn't make a ton of sense, but like I said, if he would have signed it, I think he would have got a massive pop from the crowd.
Would have been fun.
Yeah, KVN Martin, I'm just praying that they don't do a triple threat match with Roman, Finn, and Cena. I don't think they're going to do it.
You're safe, bro. Honestly, you're safe. They're not going to do that.
Yeah,
unless Cena comes back again.
They're definitely doing the Finn, like Baron Corbin. That's going to be happening next week on SmackDown, but I think they'll push it maybe to SummerSlam, maybe on a pre-show or something like that. Maybe they'll do it with like money on the line, like a briefcase full of cash or something like that.
Definitely.
Rant for Wrestling. Thank you for joining us, Rant for Wrestling. Can't believe Fiend is released. I should stop watching Raw. Everything just makes me hate Raw more. Welcome to the club, man, because we hate Raw as well. I mean, I got to watch it for the reviews and stuff, but yeah, it's not good.
I think it's one of them things you've got to find a positive and stuff. But when you've watched as many episodes of Raw as I've been watching wrestling since 91. Raw started in 93. I keep telling myself it's going to get better. With the fans coming back, I was praying it would get better. But there is some good, but it's not the talent's fault. It's just the structure of the shows compared to SmackDown. If you watch SmackDown, NXT, and AEW, you'll be fine. Like watching wrestling generally. Yeah. Just Raw is just so bad.
Yeah, it's a stark contrast between those three shows and the one on Monday nights. It's like completely two different animals. When you talk about SmackDown, NXT, and AEW compared to Raw, I would agree. The formatting of the show is odd, but also the fact that they just, well, I guess it falls in the formatting. It's a repetition. It's just repetitive nonsense every week.
I think these contenders matches are horrific as well. Like,
yes.
People that have to win a contenders match just to get a world title, then they have a match. It's just like they beat the champion. By the time you get to the pay-per-view, it's like, why can't they put two different people against each other in a contenders match rather than have the same match again and again and again? It's just
the good old-fashioned number one contenders match seems to be gone. It's like you got to beat the champion and get a championship shot. It doesn't make any sense. Logically anyway. Cena Nation, Raw took away one of their top stars to Fiend Bray Wyatt. It will be weird without him in WWE, and now there ain't much scary wrestlers in WWE. Yeah, they're not running a supernatural gimmick right now. So
we kind of said that earlier. I agree with the point, but then he's not really a top star. He hasn't been on WWE program. He's been on WWE program once this year, like Raw and WrestleMania, if that makes sense. Besides the Funhouse and stuff, but for me, I think it is a loss, yes, but they're not bothered. They've got other people that they want to push, it seems.
Yeah, and they haven't missed them really, so it's not really. Yeah, it's really that's all it is. Mark Carrillo, what's going on with Liv Morgan? Honestly, she has gotten momentum, or at least she should have had Liv versus Sasha for the number one contendership to give it continuity. Yes, I'm confused as to after Money in the Bank, how come we haven't seen Liv Morgan and the whole Sonya Deville stuff? I mean, they dropped Sonya Deville storylines because remember, it seemed like Sonya Deville seemed like she was in cahoots with Charlotte Flair trying to take Adam Pearce's job. That kind of just went away and disappeared. Now they love the fact that Pierce and Deville are together as co-general managers. And then now she had the issues with Liv Morgan, and nothing's really come of it since Money in the Bank. Also, Zelina Vega and Liv, they had their big spat on the commentary the Friday before the go-home show, before Money in the Bank, and nothing's really come of it recently.
She's basically suffering the Cesaro syndrome, as we like to call it on this podcast, where she goes from being pushed to like she's going to win a world title and whatever else, and now she's not even used. But Sonya's done a babyface turn. I don't know why. She was due to come back to the ring, apparently, Money in the Bank, but she seems to have done a babyface turn based on what we've seen in recent weeks, which is strange. It doesn't fit with what they built before.
Yeah, Liv Morgan with the vintage Cesaro stuff going on. Martin Carrillo, out of the Four Horsewomen in WWE, out of who of the Four Horsewomen in WWE is underrated and why?
I think Sasha. I think Sasha, to me, she's the best women's wrestler in WWE. I think she has it all. I think she's got such great charisma. Her selling, as she said, is really, really good. And the time she's been away, I've missed her far more than Becky Lynch. Controversial, I know, but for me, I think she's got it all, really.
I would agree with you too. I would say the most overrated, I think, is I think Becky Lynch is the most overrated one out of the four. I think her man gimmick, the whole run she had, was good, but it wasn't as great as kind of they wanted to make it seem. I think underrated, I would agree as well. I could say Bayley because she's good as a babyface and a heel. She's just her NXT babyface run is tremendous. But in contrast, the best heel I would have to say in WWE is Sasha Banks. When she's turned up to 11, she's the best heel in the company. When she had, when she was, messing around with the little girl that was Bayley's fan in NXT, making her cry and stuff like that. She was a tremendous heel. And I think that's what makes her probably the most underrated and probably the best person out of the four in terms of overall character when it comes to being a heel. Now, she's not a really good babyface, but her as a heel, because she's naturally like that, turned up to 11, she's tremendous. But Bayley as well plays both sides of the coin very well too.
I think you feel with Sasha, you look like, and you're looking at a superstar. She's got that vibe. She's got Snoop Dogg as a relative, and the intro and everything like that. I think Becky's great. She's very marketable and stuff like that. But I think all four are great. It's really hard to discredit any of them because I think all four are fantastic. What I would give to have all four of them back every single week on TV, besides just Charlotte and Sasha occasionally, it'd be good.
Yeah, Charlotte is she looks like just an athlete pro wrestler. Like she looks like she would be the best wrestler out of all four of them. If
she's really improved though. Like I can't believe it's possible, but she's gone even better since she came back. I think.
C Nation Dog, Impact Wrestling Homecoming is not a pay-per-view, it's a special, but I understand why you guys thought that because you guys not watching Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, I don't know. As I said, I barely watch Impact. I'm not going to sort of discredit or anything. I know they had quite a few wrestlers come back, but there's so much wrestling on. If I watch Impact, I probably wouldn't get time to watch everything else.
That is true. Yeah, I thought it was pay-per-view as well.
It's almost like a job.
I know it was like a special occasion, special show. Silk, what do you think Naomi joining Roman so they can dominate the women's division 2 on SmackDown? Feel it would be good for Naomi to have a decent story.
It would be great if they did it, but she's not there for that. She's there to drive Jay around and look after Jay. That's the truth of it. I'm going to shoot now. That is the truth of it, unfortunately. I think because of whatever's gone on and stuff, she's not there to get a push. She's only there to look after him, really, it seems.
Yeah, because he's in the main event storyline. They don't want to mess that up. And he gets another thing. They're going to have to suspend him. So probably, that's probably makes sense. C Nation Dog, I think the most underrated out of the why is the Four Horsemen a thing if they have never been a faction in WWE altogether?
I think because they're four of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time. I know they've never been in a faction together, but it's just one of them things. I guess maybe one day we'll see them there. I don't know if you were going to put them against a program or somebody. I think that'd be interesting who you put them against. Like, would you go against a Ronda Rousey, Alexa Bliss, and somebody else, Rhea Ripley, and then one other? I guess maybe. I think that could be fun, Bianca or something.
I just think they love to market that as the Four Horsemen. They just love marketing and calling back to it. That's the reason why they always hype that thing up. I think it's just a nice callback moment for them. Otis is going to be a monster heel that Lars Sullivan was going to be.
I hope so. It'd be good to see him do good because they've done a great job of rebuilding him, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Liv Morgan wins the Queen of the Ring tournament. Reality Charlotte Flair wins the King of the Ring tournament. That's just, I said the same thing, man. That's what's going to happen. Silk, shame they won't include NXT women roster for the Queen of the Ring. Yeah, it's a kind of a shame. It's kind of makes no sense to do that.
It would be a shame.
Mark Carrillo, Sasha Banks now established herself as a megastar on SmackDown. I always thought her run on Raw was being a second fiddle, not being ever go over than Charlotte. Yes, I agree. I think that's why they probably separated them. Because she would kind of be, it was kind of like 1A and then 1B. So now you separate them. So you have like a megastar in the women's division on either brand. I think she is a megastar on SmackDown.
I think the Bayley versus Sasha Finn last year was really what elevated her that level above, and the fact that they had this match at WrestleMania this year with Bianca and Sasha being the main event and stuff, it's just the quality of matches is just superb for the character work and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so let's get back to some of these topics really quick. Next one, Natalya injured. So tag team champion Natalya injured. I think it was last week on SmackDown, right?
Yeah. Oh no, it was on Raw. She got injured, but in a match
Raw,
Doudrop and Eva Marie, basically.
Yeah, so we'll see. I don't think the titles are in any jeopardy of having to be vacated because they don't really have any other tag teams to kind of give it to. So it makes a ton of sense.
It would be Shotzi and Knox if they're going to vacate it. But I know she's had surgery, so I don't know how bad that is and whatever else. But it's a real shame they can't afford to lose a tag team.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with those tag team titles. It should be pretty interesting. They're meaningless in effect, but we'll see. It'll be kind of interesting to see what they do with them. All right, so the next thing, the booking of Keith Lee and Karrion Kross. So Karrion Kross debuted on Monday Night Raw 2 weeks ago, lost to Jeff Hardy for absolutely no reason. The return of Keith Lee was 2 weeks ago. He lost to Bobby Lashley, the WWE champion. Then Goldberg came out. Then this week they put them together. Karrion Kross versus Keith Lee, a rematch from TakeOver 30, where Keith Lee lost Karrion Kross and NXT Championship, and he was called up subsequently after that. So they had them face each other. Karrion Kross gets the win here. So Keith Lee's 0-2, but he did lose to two champions in the process. Again, Karrion Kross coming out as the light version of Kross. No Scarlet, no pomp and circumstance entrance, nothing like that. So it's still kind of just really lukewarm stuff we're getting out of both these guys.
A couple of things with it. I think WWE have put themselves in an impossible situation. You should never have booked this match. Both wrestlers needed a win. It's not the cleverest of matches to book. I thought the match at TakeOver last year in August was far better. For me, I was happy to see Karrion get the win. Keith looks like he's lost. He looks like he's totally, utterly been punished for whatever reason why. Interesting note, Andy, update from last week. On last week's original plans, apparently it was meant to be that they had the original plans were that when Karrion came back, he was meant to beat Ricochet, and apparently Jeff Hardy would beat Cedric. Vince McMahon ripped that script up 2 hours before and said we want to shot people, and that's why they've done it. They want to shot people, but for me, I don't know where they go next. I think Keith's got to start winning. and I think Karen needs to keep winning. I did hear a rumor that apparently that they want to keep carrying on a not like the same potential as what he had in NXT while Scarlett's missing, which is your NXT champion. I don't think that's wise. I think you need to keep him strong. Like don't have him lose to anybody again. Really for a while.
It doesn't make a ton of sense. Yeah, I mean, like you want to shock people, but shock people into just calling your product more shit than they already call it. It's just I don't understand the thought process behind that. As to why you would do that, Keith Lee. Who knows what the story is with him, if he's being punished or whatever the case may be. I think he lost 2 champions. So we'll see how he does this Monday on Raw. It'll be interesting how they build him back up if they even do so. And Karrion Kross, we all know what's happening, so we'll kick it right to that. Samoa Joe's in-ring return. You saw. He wants Karrion Kross. He resigned from his management position as like a kind of an enforcer type in NXT. Got reintroduced into the active roster, and then now we'll get to take over 36 match against Karrion Kross, seemingly to beat Karrion Kross for the NXT Championship, so Karrion Kross can be freed up to become a main roster guy.
This would be an amazing match. I never thought we'd see Joe back in the ring, so I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I think the work they did on NXT this past week with Samoa Joe, the promos and stuff, really enjoyed it. Yeah, I'm with you though, Anthony. I think Samoa Joe has to beat him here. Karen needs to go up on the main roster. I think this whole fracas of NXT title on the main roster is just not good. So we need just the NXT champion to be on NXT, really. Yeah,
definitely. That's what we need. Let's get to this next thing before we go back to the comments in the chat. Fox unhappy with WWE over CM Punk. Obviously, CM Punk pretty much just announced to be in AEW, as we saw from what Darby Allin said. That will be another topic that we're going to cover a little bit later, Darby Allin stuff, what he said on Dynamite. But let me know, Jonesy, why is Fox unhappy with WWE over CM Punk?
This is juicy. This is really juicy. So let's get into it then. So CM Punk apparently was basically approached to come back to WWE. Fox really want to get CM Punk back. This was kind of going back. They had a meeting. Fox obviously was pushing WWE to get CM Punk back. At the meeting, it was all about kind of creative and stuff like that. And the creative basically said to CM Punk, "What do you want to do?" And his exact words supposedly were, "It's not my job to come up with stuff. You need to come up with stuff." So they came up obviously with the Triple H win, as we said last week, which didn't happen. Obviously, they kind of left. It wasn't on bad terms and stuff. And then crucially, the minute that they found out, Fox found out that AEW were interested in CM Punk, they panicked. They originally sort of ransacked WWE. They pushed WWE to get CM Punk back in. What was kind of interesting is the fact that the minute CM Punk obviously had this meeting with WWE then basically said that they didn't want CM Punk back. They said he's not worth the money. They said that he's got a bad attitude. The roster don't want him there. And Fox actually said we'll pay the difference to get him there. Fox actually said they'll pay the shortfall to get CM Punk because they're desperate to get him. And then what then happens is it just kind of ended up with like everybody saying they didn't want CM Punk there because of his attitude, and he obviously is going to AEW. And now Fox are going nuts. Fox are really unhappy about that. They just think it's a really silly move because they're desperate to get him back, following his work on backstage and stuff.
Yeah, so it all stems back to the FS1 days where they had the really bad backstage show that they had that was just terrible and got no ratings, and not even Punk could save that show. He made his big return, and he was an employee of Fox, not WWE. So everybody kind of thought, oh, he's coming back to WWE because he's there. But he was there as an employee of Fox. Fox is paying him to do that show for WWE, to cover WWE. So yeah, obviously they want him there because they feel like he's just a megastar and they want him to be on Fox. They're paying $1 billion WWE for SmackDown, the rights to show it on Friday night. So they want a guy like CM Punk to be on SmackDown. So meaning they want him to show up because they want him to be a SmackDown superstar. Obviously, I have my thoughts about CM Punk. I've soured on him a lot since his leaving of WWE, just in terms of his constant complaining about everything type of stuff and his really surly attitude. I think I would lend myself to agree and probably believe that the locker room probably didn't want him back, or most of the guys in the locker room just kind of didn't want him there because of his surly attitude. And obviously the guys in the back the management didn't want him back because they didn't want to deal with the headache again, probably.
I mean, it's the fact that Fox are willing to broker a deal. The fact that Fox were going to pay the shortcoming, they were going to say stuff. We'll pay the difference. Yet WWE didn't want to do it. This all goes back to when CM Punk fell out with WWE. The fact that they don't want somebody there that's going to screw the creative up. They don't want a CM Punk from 2013 again that's going to cause hell, basically. But this is all alleged, obviously. But it doesn't surprise me. An interesting note as well is WWE have been panicking to try and get Daniel Bryan back at all costs. They're kind of really like annoyed that he's going to AEW, which is just really interesting to see. You should never let him be released in the first place. Yeah,
you should never let his contract roll over. If you were afraid of that, you should never let his contract roll over. It's just very lazy. It falls in line with the 30-day non-compete or 60-day non-compete instead of 90-day with Aleister Black. Like that falls in line with that stupidness, like laziness in that aspect.
I think Fox also really unhappy with the ratings SmackDown are getting. They're meant to be getting like 3 million viewers, supposedly, and they're only getting like whatever they're getting. It's like a lot less. How do you think this is going to play out for WWE? Do you think WWE will be able to recover the situation, or do you think Fox will get rid of them as and when the contract's up?
No, I don't think they'll get rid of them because I don't think they're going to get much more than what they're getting from anything else on a Friday night in terms of viewership. It kind of just is what it is. The product itself isn't that hot that people are tuning in. I mean, Raw is not getting the greatest ratings compared to what they used to, obviously. So I think anything compared to what they were going to get from any other show on a Friday night, I think they'll probably just stick with WWE. And I think WWE will die to keep them on there because I still find it interesting that you'll watch like a Fox football game, NFL game, and you'll see commercials for SmackDown, which for me, looking at it, is nuts to see that going down, like that actual advertisement for Friday Night SmackDown during an NFL game. I think it's nuts. But yeah, I don't think they will. I think they'll stick with it. I don't think Punk is going to move the needle long term that much. I think it's a short term burst that AEW will get from it. And I don't think it'll make that big of an impact in the long term where WWE and Fox will kind of be like, damn, we missed out. We screwed up.
I think the real test will be in a year's time once he's had his matches with Omega and whoever else, really, to see whether he's still getting that rating in, really.
Yes. Cheap plug. I am coming out with a pros and cons video of CM Punk and Daniel Bryan going to the AEW. So I'll be releasing that one soon. Stay tuned for that one.
Can't wait to see it.
I will touch on that point, like how it's more short term than long term. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, let's get back to the comments real quick. See Nation Dog. I like Nikki ASH, but I just not seeing her see her being a person who opens the show and end it. True story. Yeah, I don't see her like they had her open and end. I don't think that was probably the best idea.
I think this one of them things, they're just trying to get everyone behind the gimmick. That's all, really.
They're dying for the merchandising and stuff like that. Noob and Co. Let's not kid ourselves. Charlotte not winning it because have someone like Liv Morgan, Mia Yim, or better yet, give it to Asuka. The least WWE can do after she entertained everyone during the pandemic. I think it's more of a case of Liv Morgan or Mia Yim or somebody like that.
Liv Morgan's the one. I think that's really sensible. Unless they're going to give it to somebody else from NXT. Obviously, they're trying a lot of wrestlers from NXT. Indy Hartwell, I think, is imminently coming up as well.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes down. But I think it's going to be like a mid-card, yeah. Just like Revuki says right here. The Queen of the Ring should be used to elevate a mid-card star. If they're going to do this to push Charlotte or a top draw, then this tournament will be lackluster. Definitely will be. If they do
you think we could see like somebody like a Shayna Baszler? I know that the Saudi audience, they don't really want someone glamorous. Like they're not a fan of glamorous women and stuff like that. Just generally for what I know, Shayna Baszler isn't exactly glamorous, is she? So do you think that would be a good person to win it? That's what I'd quite like to see win it.
I don't see why not. Yeah, she definitely needs a push. I mean, it might help her out in the end. If it gets her to another level than where she is right now, yeah, definitely.
Cool.
C Nation Dog, when Nikki Cross got her superhero gimmick, I thought her career was over, but she won the Raw Women's Championship. Yeah, I mean, you can't judge a book by its cover, I guess. Martin Carrillo, who are the most talked people in WWE right now? Reggie and Baron Corbin, future tag champs. I actually kind of like definitely. That. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, I don't mind Reggie or Reginald, whatever you want to call him, because he's a lot of fun and the acrobatics he does. I mean, you could just have a lot of fun with it, but it has to be sparingly. That's why I think the 24/7 championship is perfect for him. If it was done more of an aspect of where the way it should be, like he's at an airport and he flips over, the baggage claim area. He just flips over the entire thing or does some crazy stuff like that. Just he's so athletic and so athletically gifted that they can have a lot of fun, but it has to be in the outside the ring kind of format.
I like it. They've got to start using the locations more. Like, I agree with you. Spot on with that comment. 100%.
They have to, yeah. C Nation Dog, what if Roman Reigns and John Cena did a double turn at SummerSlam?
It's not happening. John Cena's not going to be there much after SummerSlam, unfortunately.
And he's never going to turn heel. He's never, like, if they didn't do it 5, 6, 7, 8 years prior, they're not going to go with it now.
If Roman Reigns did turn babyface, who's the heel then? There's nobody then to be the natural heel, really, apart from Seth Rollins, I think, on SmackDown.
I think either way, if he's heel or babyface, he's going to dominate. Nobody's going to be at the level to beat him either. Yeah, I don't think they don't have a babyface to beat a heel Roman Reigns. They don't have a heel to beat a babyface Roman Reigns. So I don't think. Imagine if Reggie just do flips in front of Reigns and he gets impressed and lets him in the bloodline.
Why not? You can make the bloodline. It'd be like the time the NW got 12 members or something in the night, where there are people like Virgil and all that lot, and Vincent and all these other people that are jobbers. It just kind of brings it down. You don't want to bring the bloodline down. You want to just have top people in it, ideally.
It'd actually be pretty hilarious. That's the reason why he lets him. He just does a bunch of flips. He's like, "You're in." Oh my God. C Nation Dog, babyface tribal chief Roman Reigns could work because he could still say "acknowledge me."
He's better as a heel. The promos, the whole design of the character and the promos are heel driven. I think him being, I love you to the fans, all this lot, it's not going to be as cool for me. He's not going to have that Fonz factor he's got at the moment.
Yeah, and he's like especially extremely savage on the mic, so it helps. It helps the fact that he's a heel. WWE always give momentum to fan favorites like Cesaro and Liv Morgan and take it away. Yes, they do. They love.
I've got to give
doing
you
that.
credit, Andy. I remember we did a stream kind of back in February where I was saying Cesaro is going to get a push this year. He's not going to win the belt, but he'll get a push. And he said to me, "No, we're down by sort of this level by this point," and you were spot on.
Yeah, I just can't believe it. I just literally, I cannot like believe that they will ever legitimately push Cesaro to a point. And it's not even all WWE's fault. A lot of it falls on him as well because he just doesn't have the, I don't. You say the it factor, right? That's what they've said, but it doesn't have what you need to come off on television as like you belong in that ring with Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns, because he didn't. You could tell just by looking at it, he did not belong there in that ring with those two other guys.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's always great in the ring. It's just he's never going to get that.
Yeah, he's never gonna have. The rest of it to get him to that next level. I miss the old Becky Lynch. Still like the man Becky Lynch. Yeah, I do as well. I just think it wasn't as great as everybody thought it was. Like everybody made it seem bigger than it actually was.
It got over so quickly, so much quicker than they thought. Really.
Yeah, Charlotte Flair has been in the title picture so much people stop caring and allow it.
It's because the Raw Women's roster's a mess. Like that's kind of the truth of the situation. You've got limited women because you haven't built people up. You constantly had Rhea versus Charlotte for every single month for months and months now. It's probably why. So I think
so just keep going back to old glory when it comes back to that. Yeah, just like give it back to the proven commodity. Mark Carrillo, why can't WWE try stuff that talent from NXT use over there instead of changing or giving different stuff to them? They have it. They have to give it a chance and not a no chance, Vince. Yeah, I've said that a lot as well. Like they have the foundation already built from NXT that you could just build on top of that. But again, it's like when guys come in from other companies, like AJ Styles comes up, from TNA and everywhere else. Vince does not give a crap as to where these guys came from or what they've done previously. It's all about proving yourself to him, and you're starting from the ground up when you come to him. So all your foundation is broken down. Like when it was AJ Styles, he showed up, he had to be like, he had the pit bull gimmick. Like he was just a pit bull, like very tenacious, and that's it. And then obviously he endeared himself to Vince McMahon because he's so gifted in the ring that Vince McMahon saw he had a star in his hands and built it that way. But that's the problem. It's even from NXT, it's the same. It's literally the same company. It's the same company. It's exactly the same company, right? Nothing changes. But he still has to feel like I need to create you from the ground up and kind of break you back down and build you back up.
I really thought we'd see sort of story arcs between NXT and WWE. It's all the same company in essence. It should be. Like there's no excuse not to do like big storylines between both companies to get both brands over.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make any sense. Reginald has been managers of females, but it would be really if he was managers of males, it could work.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
It's asking a lot. Like I think we don't really have male managers besides kind of Paul Heyman and Malcolm Bivens in NXT and stuff. It's not really kind of a common thing these days. But the days of Bobby the Brain Heenan and Paul Bearer, they used to be really, really good. But for me, I think Reginald's is much better in the ring. Like I don't know what wrestling ability he's got, but the flips and stuff are really, really good. I kind of enjoy it. It's almost Ricochet's gimmick, but on a push, which is fun to see. In fact, Ricochet has been on TV for ages, and we get Reginald every single week doing the same thing. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I think he's fine in like a more comedic role or 24/7 role. Like that's where his bread and butter should be there. Sorry, I meant to say that the most underrated is Bayley. Okay, gotcha. He thinks Bayley is the most underrated out of the Four Horsewomen. Silk, why don't they include NXT in championship reigns like with Charlotte? They say that she has an 11-time champ reign without her NXT run, even though she won the title at Mania.
It's a fair point. It's because NXT doesn't matter. Sorry to say that.
And in Vince's eyes, NXT doesn't matter. Like it honestly doesn't to Vince, even though Triple H is the one heading it. It's the same company. It makes no sense. It's like the same company, but they're not. It's the weirdest thing ever. Zach from West Coast Pop is here. He says the sun is shining bright here in LA. Got peaks on fleek, eating good, and champagne flowing at poolside. Feeling so good. I wanted to give you your weekly ratings boost. We appreciate it, Zach. Thank you always for gracing us with your on fleek presence, and we appreciate the ratings boost. It's 100% appreciated. Shout out to West Coast Pop. Those guys are good guys. Martin Carrillo, hey, why are they giving an update on Raw about the women's tag team titles aren't Tamina and Natalia on SmackDown?
They're on all brands. They can just go where they want. They're kind of multi-branded, I thought. They're not just on one brand.
It seemed like it because now the 24/7 championships on SmackDown, but it was like Raw exclusively, like at Raw. So it's
the trouble is if you do what Martin said, like it's a really good point. Like because you released so many tag teams like over this year that you haven't got wrestlers to have a tag team division on just Raw and SmackDown, unfortunately.
Exactly, it makes no sense. It's bad management there. Nubico, Natty will be number 30 at the Royal Rumble next year. Hopefully she wins it. I would like to see Natty win it.
She did, definitely.
Yeah, she deserves it. Thank God McAfee's on commentary. He cleans up all my questions. They should send on Raw for the sake of WWE making me understand the randomness of Raw. Pat
McAfee and Cole
is
are great. They're
yeah,
really
he's great. And I think Michael Cole said that Pat McAfee kind of rejuvenated Michael Cole's career. A lot of fun. He feels like he's uninhibited out there. He can do whatever he kind of wants, and he's just like flying by the seat of his pants.
They're definitely the Jim Ross and Jerry King Lawler combination, aren't they? In WWE of 2021, they're really, really good, refreshing.
Yeah, polar opposites from each other the way they commentate. It's weird. Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch have been a tag team, and Bayley and Sasha have been tag team, but they never been together. Oh, the four of them together. Yeah, they just never wanted to put them together. I don't know. Maybe one day we'll get it. Still, Cross should have been the one to answer Bobby's open challenge. If you were going to have him lose, it would have played into his promo from the week prior, where one was to become a WWE champ. But that's too much continuity for WWE.
Yeah, it would. They just panicked. As I said, Vince ripped the script up 2 hours before the show. That's kind of why we're getting this sort of thing going on.
Exactly. All right. So Bayley is the weak link of the Four Horsemen because she's the only one in the Four Horsemen not to main event at WrestleMania. I think it will be sooner rather than later than when she will main event at WrestleMania.
She's really good though. But we're clearly missing her. The fact that she got injured, we're really missing her on SmackDown. Even though we've got Sasha Banks and stuff, I think we need her back as soon as we can get her back. Really.
Yeah, big time. Marco, I'm giving my crazy prediction. Joe wins title, then Pete Dunne challenges Joe, and finally Dunne wins the big one.
Could be good. Dunne's great, so I'd love to see him with the title. But for me, I think the big one is sort of Walter to drop the belt, and I think we're going to get Walter and Joe, or Walter and Cross. I think that would be a dream for me. Either permutation would be good.
It could be a match that's set up at NXT Takeover as well, because they're both going to be on the show. Both titles will be on the line at the show.
Fun.
Thoughts on the main events of All Out main event being changed from Omega Page to possibly Omega Christian Cage? All right, so with Silk saying that's one of our topics. Let's get to it right now. Adam Page loses title shot. Get into it, Jonesy. Let me know.
Yeah, I thought it was a real shock, but it makes sense. Like everything I've kind of heard this week and today is AEW with CM Punk coming in. They want to give CM Punk the belt. They want to go to CM Punk Omega quite quickly, and that kind of makes up the fact that they're willing to throw this storyline away. It's clever, really. You've got to look at this. You're going to have massive buy rates from Daniel Bryan and CM Punk. You don't need to give this match away. This is one of the best built matches up on AEW television. Adam Page chasing it for a while will be fine, but for me, I think Omega and Punk will be the match they do. Not on the pay-per-view, obviously, but that'll be one of the first matches they do. Hence why Christian Cage and Omega's not a bad match, and as a temporary match as a temporary option.
Yeah, but that falls into as well as it's an issue with the fact you bringing in a guy like that. It hurts other guys on the roster. Now, how far do they push back the Adam Page stuff? Because now if Punk comes in and takes the title, it's kind of Adam Page and Kenny Omega's kind of thrown out the window. You got to have one of them win the title back to kind of build back to this spot. So it could be another thing where they drop a storyline like they've done before and then come back to it months later and kind of everybody kind of forgot about it already. So that's the problem.
It's a shame they're dropping it at this point when it's so heated and stuff like that.
Yes.
But they just kind of, the thing with it, Kenny needs time off. That's the thing. If Kenny's only got 1 or 2 matches left, or however long he's got left with his current injury status, they want to give him the big match. I think the longer they leave CM Punk, Kenny Omega as a match, I think it loses the overness of the match, the heat of the match, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a waste. I think the timing is a little bit off on this whole thing because they've built the Adam Page stuff well. It's just, I think the timing is what messes this up. I hope they stick with Page versus Omega at All Out. Again, I don't want to see CM Punk come in and immediately be put into the main event. It's I don't want to see it, but I know they kind of have to do it because look at Christian Cage. He came in and immediately kind of teased Kenny Omega, but then kind of is now meandering around with the Hardy family office. So it's what do you do? And then what becomes of Malachi Black? What becomes of Andrade? Do they get title shots? It's CM Punk really throws a wrench into the whole roster of AEW because he is such a massive name. I think it kind of hurts everybody else on the roster, to be honest.
And then it gets even more complex on September 22nd at AEW Grand Slam when Daniel Bryan debuts. Yes. I'll put that out there. Arthur Ashley and Daniel Bryan's debut, and I think as well, it's going to get complex if they're in the world title picture. If they do Daniel Bryan CM Punk quite quickly on, it's going to be crazy. I'd rather see them delay that type of match. For me, I think that could be one of the biggest matches of the year if it happens.
I think when they get everything out or quickly because they don't have it's a short-term boost. It feels like from these guys. They're not going to be long-term. I think it's going to be a short-term boost.
I think it'll be limited dates as well. I think with CM Punk it'll be limited dates. I don't expect to see him on every AW Dynamite and every single pay-per-view. I think it'll be limited ones. I'd have thought.
I'm going to say right now, I don't think CM Punk and Daniel Bryan coming to AW is going to end up being that great of a thing for AEW. I don't think they need him.
Big prediction.
Yeah, I don't think they need him, nor do I think that it's going to help them in the long run. Go ahead, Joey.
All I was going to say is I'll be interested to see what the morale is with Punk and stuff because he's gonna obviously pull his toys around and throw his toys around of what he wants done and stuff. This guy, he's great. Don't get me wrong, but I don't see him being like a locker room leader or such mentor to these wrestlers. I think he's just coming in looking down at them. I don't want to say that's definitely the case, but
I can see it too. And will he get a Hogan contract or a Hogan deal where he has creative control?
Of course he will. Of course, he'll get some crazy deal. Like creative control or something.
Yeah, so I'm saying, like, will he get creative control like Hogan did WCW? CNation Dog, Pete Dunne should have been NXT champion by now. He's the only guy who challenges for the NXT champion when they need a challenger. Yeah, he's kind of the guy. Like, we need somebody. Let's throw Pete Dunne in there.
It's because of Karrion Kross, though. They haven't been able to have Karrion Kross lose on NXT. That's why he's not sort of won it.
Yeah, here we go. Kenny versus Adam Hangman Page for the AEW World Championship should be happening at All Out, but it's not. Yeah, I think it should as well. But again, these guys that come in, established big time names, they kind of throw a wrench into everything they have planned already. Martin Carrillo, Fox makes better calls and moves in WWE, to be honest. I have a feeling that if it wasn't for Fox pressuring WWE to get crowds back, we wouldn't have got them back yet. I'm not sure if that's Fox. I think it's more of Vince wanting to be able to tour and have stadiums filled. I don't think he likes the optics of it being half empty or half filled. I think he was waiting until it's completely, he can do a full travel schedule and have every place sold out.
I think the thing with it is when you look at AEW have had fans for a while. I think he doesn't want to be left behind by that. He doesn't want fans just to tune into AEW to have that crowd feel rather than just the Thunderdome. The Thunderdome was obviously kind of cheap. It saved them a lot of money in the long run, but I think he's smart having fans back. It certainly makes the product a lot more fun, even if they're piped in noises.
It makes it feel like a lot more like everything feels bigger and big match. Not doing Raw results because going to be on vacation. Raw has always been on Monday and on USA, while SmackDown moves from channel to channel and what day it's on.
Yeah, so it depends on the contract where they sign the television broadcast and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. Review Geek with the CM Punk right there. I don't think it's gonna be good for them. I'll be honest with you. I don't think it's gonna really work out that well. See Nation Dog, I can see Reggie being Intercontinental Champion, United States Champion, but not a World Champion. But never say never. Jinder Mahal did it. I don't think I could even see him.
He's not gonna be World Champion.
I don't think he can win those mid cards either. I don't think so.
He's only doing flips. He doesn't do any other moves other than flips.
Yeah,
doesn't do suplexes. He doesn't do anything.
Unless he's like, has that in his back pocket, he's gonna unleash it, and that's how he wins these titles. Reggie would have worked for the old cringy NXT where there was rookies, right?
He could have been a good opening that, but this guy obviously it shows what they think of him. Like they teased him like early this year with the Sasha Banks Bianca Finini him up that matchup, like being involved in the program that went nowhere. And he's only got the 24/7 title that's just been dropped on and off. That's the level he is, unfortunately, but he's great. I enjoy it.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun at it. At least Cesaro being United States champion, probably the biggest champion he wins ever. I think so as well. I think he may win the IC. So whatever you have the IC in United States, if we have one higher than the other, might be his biggest championship ever. Mark Carrillo, fun fact: Lily gets more TV time than Asuka, Cesaro, Big E, etc.
Wow.
I
don't know about Big E, probably not, but I think Oscar definitely. Cesaro, yeah, that's the thing with it though. That's another merchandise seller. I think.
It's a damn shame, Martin. I'll be honest with you.
It's just what it is in 2021. I'm afraid.
Yeah. C Nation Dog. I know why Vince McMahon changed NXT wrestler's character a little bit, because Vince McMahon wants to take credit. He did it. I mean, it doesn't change the name completely. Maybe I don't really know. It's the same company, right? So it's like.
He's always got this paranoia though. Even when if you remember going back to the invasion when WCW and ECW went against WWE, he couldn't have WCW and ECW go over. He had to make WF look superior. He's always got that complex about WF looking superior. I do get it for a certain point. WF is your main breadwinner. That's your brand. That's everyone knows. If you go to a wrestling fan generally that's not watching everything, what's a wrestling company? Everyone's heard of WF or WWE. Who's heard of NXT besides us a lot? If that makes sense. Controversial, but I think it's true.
It's true. Yeah, I think it's true as well. I think he just sees it as like. Yeah, it's like NXT is just there. That's kind of like he just treats NXT like the minor leagues. He still thinks it's the minor leagues.
Even the name says it all. Next, it's almost like a sort of in next. It's almost like it's not like the finished article, or whatever else. Yeah,
like this is the breeding ground, and then when it comes the main, that's why I still call the call up to the main roster, because they still see it as there are three brands, but technically it's like still the minor leagues. And within the umbrella of WWE. Review Geek, I think Raw SmackDown should move to a 2-hour show. The shows are just too long and shorten the shows. I don't think Raw ever will, because I think they make too much money in the third hour from advertisement that they won't shorten it.
They won't shorten it at all.
Shorten the shows, but focus more just on the promos and the match instead of just long-winded crap that just ain't needed. Stop bringing old guys back. Just focus on young talent. Elevate the mid card. Yeah, totally. I mean, I agree with you. It's just they feel like they don't have any confidence in any of those mid-card guys. They have confidence in the old guys that they've done it. Like, it's like you go back to Old Faithful all the time. Like, that's what you do. You have a proven commodity. You go back to it when you feel like you need to.
I think for me, the thing that I'm really missing is like gripping angles and storylines. They don't do vignettes of who's coming and teasing anything. There's none of this mystery or anything going on. It's just match after match. And there's none of these backstage attacks or anything. We don't really get turns as much, which I think for me, growing up in the Attitude Era, we had stuff every week going on. Like not every week, but most weeks you'd have something going on.
Yeah, whereas, something fun and unpredictable. And you kind of like you're waiting for the week prior, like the next week. What's gonna happen? That's the whole thing. Yeah. Are Natalya and Tamina babyfaces or heels? I think they're babyfaces, right? Babyfaces.
Yeah, they're tweeners. They're kind of stuck in between. Like they do sometimes they're babyfaces, but at the moment I think they're more heelish.
Not by choice. I don't think. I think it's just like they just don't really know what to do with them, so they're kind of just Nubico, move Asuka to SmackDown. She can be her own woman and not being in Charlotte's shadow.
I agree. As long as Becky Lynch isn't there, because I think Becky Lynch, obviously, she's going to come back eventually. It depends on where Rollins is, I think, with that. Like, whether they put Becky Lynch in, but somewhere, Oscar somewhere different, really.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, keep them separate. Separate your stars since you have two different brands. Mark Ferrer, I really want to see Paige win the title at All Out, but I'm pretty sure they're saving it now since they got new signings coming. Yeah,
that's what I said.
It's just like...
Great point.
How long are you going to wait, though, like to get to it? Right? Because you kind of had it already set up previously from when they broke up as a tag team. You had them having the tournament. Omega came out on top, and then it just went away from it. Now you come back to it, and then you're just going to go away from it again. It's just like stop and go booking.
The trouble is you're not going to give it to sort of Hangman Page and have him lose to CM Punk the month after. That would be really like bad for Hangman Page. Like, you know what I mean? I think he needs to. This is the time probably to do it, but it depends on what they want to do with CM Punk. Obviously, CM Punk it's been teased of Darby Allin stuff, but if you're paying him whatever you're going to pay him, he's not going to be with Darby Allin. He shouldn't be with Darby Allin. He needs to come in at the top, really.
But yeah, so like, people think Omega Page will be pushed back to Full Gear around November, and I don't think they're looking to do Omega Punk straight away. Apparently, it will be Punk and Darby Allin.
I think that's just a blag. Like, I think the Punk Darby Allin thing is just a name hint. I'd be very surprised if Punk comes in and goes against Darby Allin. It's a bit of a low card match for him to be his opening match in AEW for me. I think it'd be a good match, don't get me wrong, but Darby Allin isn't the world champion. He's not got a top tier title in AEW, has he? Really?
No, but it'll be a Christian Cage type thing where he comes in, kind of teases the Omega stuff or teases the title, and then he just ends up going down to the lower card.
It gives him something to do, I guess. It keeps him away from the world title, I guess. That's a sensible thing, though.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go back to AEW Dynamite, because finally the juice has come back. My guy Juventud Guerrero is coming back. He will be taking on Chris Jericho this Wednesday in the third labor of the labors of Jericho from the 5 labors of Jericho. He took on Nick Gage this past week in a death match. That was pretty nuts. I didn't think they were going to go as far as they did, but they went pretty far with it. And after that, it was announced. Now, I think the pacing or the setup of the scaling of the matches has been doesn't make a ton of sense, because you do the death match second, and then how can you get any bigger than the death match to get to MJF at the end? I think Nick Gage should have been the final opponent rather than the second opponent. But it's a weird stipulation. He has to win, Jericho does, by hitting a move off the top rope. And he's taking on Juventud, classic Juvi. We're going back to the old WCW Cruiserweight days with the man who demasked Juvi, Chris Jericho. It's a good callback. It's a lot of fun. I'm excited. I'm excited to see Chris Jericho going against Juventud Guerrero.
I love the shot value of it, the fact that no one saw it coming. I love the fact they're going back to a clip from 2019, which is really, really good. It's great that they went back there. Put it out there, and this is a prediction. His last sort of opponent in this series is going to be Lance Storm. Has to be Lance Storm based on everything we've kind of heard. But in terms of Juventud Guerrero, I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing it. It'll be a fun match. But yeah, I didn't think we'd see that on AEW. So credit to AEW. They're keeping that secret, that kind of return and stuff.
That's a good call by you for Lance Storm, because I think he said that they've always wanted. I think Lance Storm always wanted to have his last match against Chris Jericho, or vice versa.
Yeah,
something like that. He always wanted to have his last match. So it could be like a retirement match, maybe. Like maybe the last one is like you have to take on Lance Storm, but if you win, he has to retire. Like he can never wrestle again. Some type of stipulation.
We'll go back to the Thrill Seekers tag team, wouldn't it? Of course.
Yeah, something cool like that. I mean, I think I've heard Chris Jericho or Lance Storm say that before, that they always want to have like a last match against each other because they've started with each other and they want to end with each other.
That's what I would do if I was booking it, because I think I'd love to see that, and I think it'd be a great match. Lance Storm's a fantastic wrestler. Even today, I think he'd be fantastic on AEW.
Yeah. I think it'd be cool stuff. I think that'd be a good idea. Lance Storm retire. It'll be the last match in the ring. And then he goes on to take, Chris Jericho does MJF. Lance T Storm, because the T stands for Thunder. Let's get to the next thing here. Darby Allin calls out CM Punk. He calls out the best in the world. This is the clip right here.
Place to really prove that. Right here in AEW. Even if you think you are the best in the world.
So there's the tease. I mean, you pretty much just announced it right there. Like, he's coming to AEW, best in the world. We all know what that means. You saw the crowd reaction. You saw Marvez's big ass head turning and looking at the camera. You knew what that's about. He is coming. and it seems to be Darby Allin. Maybe not be a program or maybe a quick program. It could be just like a face-to-face type of thing. But again, we've been talking about this for a while now. On the stream and in the chat, CM Punk's there. It's
Definitely.
happening.
It's happening. They can't put this out there. They can't tease the fans. Imagine the backlash if they don't deliver CM Punk now after all these. MJF had a line as well that was hinting at CM Punk as well. For me, Darby Allin and CM Punk would be a fun match if it happens. Just looking forward to seeing it. I think in terms of like a debut, it's got to be the Chicago shows. The fact they put this stadium out there that's absolutely huge, CM Punk's got to be there for that. That's the only way to sell out the stadium. I think it might be going against. I heard something that may be going against SmackDown potentially. They might be running it against SmackDown, which would be interesting to see if they do.
I've heard Rampage can be the 1 hour show, but it happens like as soon as SmackDown ends. So SmackDown ends in the East Coast at 10 p.m. and 10 p.m. I think this thing will start Rampage. But like I said, I tweeted this out. I think even bigger than the fact that he's showing up at that show at Rampage is the fact that they got the United Center as the place that they've gotten in there. I mean, like I said, there's 4 big arenas in the United States. It is the Staples Center where the Lakers play and the Clippers. It is the United Center where the Bulls and the Blackhawks play. It's the TD Garden where the Celtics and the Bruins play. And it's Madison Square Garden where the Rangers and the Knicks play. Those are the 4 places. If you can get into those 4 places, you are a made company. And they getting into one, even if it's just for a 1 hour show, it's cheaper than a 2 hour show, obviously renting that place out, but they're obviously getting it because CM Punk is going to be there. I think that's the bigger story coming out of this and actually CM Punk, in my opinion, because it makes them a legitimate company if they can get into that place. And then those other 3 of the big 4.
Definitely. They've sold 12,000 seats already, which is interesting, but they've only got to the 20th of August to get this card built up and get them other seats sold. Can they do it? That's the question I'll ask you, Anthony.
Yes, I think they will, just because once people know CM Punk's going to be there, so they're going to show up. He's going to sell out that place because it's CM Punk. Again, it's an hour-long show on a Friday night, especially at the time. If it is happening at 10 p.m., it's a little bit late.
Do you think they should extend it, like the length for this one episode?
I don't think they want to pay. I don't think the United Center would be like cool with them. I think they agreed on just the hour-long rental of the place. That's the only thing. Like, it's going to cost them a lot more to get enough extra time in there.
Definitely.
Be pretty interesting. Okay, so Cena Nation Dog says, Kenny Omega going to Impact Wrestling kind of ruin Impact Wrestling plans, and CM Punk going to AW kind of ruin AW plans. Well said. I'm going to be honest with you. That's well said. I think that's true.
100% is on the money.
Yeah. Mark Carrillo, I don't hear anyone talk about Apollo Crews not defending the IC title. I know he defends it at SummerSlam because his momentum has been lost.
I think everything we saw on SmackDown this week is heading towards Nakamura and Apollo, I'd say. I think that's kind of got to happen, really, based on the fact that Nakamura pinned him. But I agree. The title's been in the toilet, unfortunately, which is just a real shame.
So it's the United States because they both haven't had the 30-day competes, right? So they haven't defended in 30 days. So both of them, the rules would apply to either Apollo Crews, the IC champ, or Sheamus, the United States champ. Kenny Omega got karma because he went to Impact Wrestling and ruined Impact Wrestling plans, not CM Punk go to AEW and ruin AEW plans. Karma's a bitch. C Nation Dog, Kenny Omega, okay, but sorry, repeating it. I know why Natalya and Tamina are babyface and heels because they aren't enough women tag teams in the women's tag team division.
Well, agreed. That's what happens when you release the Iconics. You release Mickey James, you release endless amounts of people this year in 2021 with no reason and no thought, really. You didn't need to do it. So
they got to play both roles. That's just the problem, right? Yeah. Review Geek, could we see Paige come back like what Edge did? She fights to get medically cleared. That'd be cool. I mean, it would be
That'd
awesome.
be fun. That'd be great to see her back, but I don't really. Is she even still with WWE? You don't really hear much about her at all now.
No, I don't think so. I think she maybe have like a Legends contract or something like that, or maybe I know she gets just the royalties. I know that, but she just recently said that she's been able to squat more because of her neck's been feeling great. So that could be foreshadowing that she may want to come back sometime. See Nation, though, no disrespect to the women in WWE, but WWE not need a women's mid-card title because there aren't enough women in WWE. True story. I don't think they need a women's mid-card title. I don't think.
Not unless you're going to recruit.
Yes. Because if you see like right now it's barren the roster, so like you wouldn't. Well, a mid card will only make it even more kind of just.
For me, if I was going to recruit anybody, I think the people they need to go for are, depending on contracts and stuff, would be Deanna Purrazzo. That straight away. I think for me, she should be in WWE already. I think also you've got.
Well, she was in NXT, but they got rid of her. Yeah.
There you go. I think you've also got to get Britt Baker when she's available, if she's ever going to be available. Obviously, not under contract.
I would say you drop so much money on Britt Baker because Britt versus like Becky Lynch and the mic could be pretty cool. Her and Charlotte on the mic would be pretty cool. Her Charlotte, that's good stuff.
Do you think they made a mistake missing out on Thunder Rosa? That's one as well that was available that they didn't get, which I'm surprised at.
I don't think she would have worked there. To be honest with you, I don't think she would have worked there. I think she's better off her going to AEW. Yeah. Mark Carrillo, Finn Balor should be a tweener. He would be a great fit for it, just like how Becky heel tweener run. Yes, he should. The Prince gimmick is more of like a tweener gimmick. He's more of like a cool kind of James Dean kind of badass. He's kind of like in between. He's not clean cut babyface, but he's not like a dastardly heel. He's just kind of in the middle.
It would have been fun if they brought him up like that.
Review. I can't wait for the next Jericho match. This is going to be this one is going to be nuts on a grand scale. It's gonna be fun, man. It's him versus
great nostalgia.
Yeah, him versus Hoovy is gonna be a ton of. Obviously, Chris Jericho can't do everything he used to do, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. Just seeing him and Juventud in the ring is gonna be super cool. What if MJF chooses Jake Hager to face Chris Jericho? And what if he says Jake Hager cannot lay down and let Chris Jericho and they have to fight? That'd be interesting. Hopefully, they don't do it as an MMA type match because that thing was terrible.
It'd be interesting to see what they do. Like I think, as I said, it's been really inventive who they've chose for opponents so far. I think it's really, really good. I'd love to see more things like that where it's just the surprise factor.
Yeah, I think the Lance Storm thing is the perfect ending. But again, I think Nick Gage should have probably been in terms of like, if you think about it logically, the death match should be the final kind of thing, right? Because how crazy it is. Because in terms of optics, it's not gonna look, nothing's gonna look as crazy as that one did. Nowadays, babyface with emotional sequences don't work with wrestling fans anymore. Stuff like how Becky was by the end of 2018 to get over. It's tough nowadays, man. It is. It's tough to get the babyface over.
Definitely, like you can't help. It's not the wrestler's fault. It's the booking and just the characterisms and stuff, and the fact that inconsistent being on TV one week, not being there the next week, it's very tough.
Yeah. I think in one of the labors of Jericho, MJF will choose. Okay, it's the same one. I'm sorry. I wonder who's the best in the world: Shirai, CM Punk, Will Ospreay, or Shane McMahon. Shane, definitely. He's got the hardware to prove it. None of the other ones got it.
He's the man that got rid of the train gift for Braun Strowman before he was unfortunately released. So he's a hero in my eyes. That
is true. But like I said, he has the only guy with the hardware to prove it. He has the trophy, so none of them other guys and girls can actually prove it physically. Because they don't have a trophy. Kenny Omega stated that they want to use Rampage majorly for the women's division. Thoughts?
It's an hour show. Like how much time can dedicate to the women's division? They haven't got that many women anyway. I don't think they've got Julia Hart, they've got Thunder Rosa, they've got Britt Baker, they got a few others. Like
Nyla, they have Penelope, they have Statlander. I just don't think it'll be like. Yeah, I don't think so. Well, if it is, it's going to be probably after the United Center show because they're not going to sell the United Center. Just have a bunch of just only the women's matches. It's not going to doesn't have the star power to kind of really for that show. We want Cesaro versus Apollo Crews for the Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam. WWE gives us King Nakamura versus Apollo Crews for the Intercontinental title. I've always been a fan of Nakamura. I think they could do so much with him, but they just choose not to.
I think my only request is we haven't got Biggie. Like Biggie's the Money Bank briefcase winner now. We need him away from the Intercontinental title. This guy needs to be going towards the upper echelons. Like he needs to be on SummerSlam by all means, but he needs to start winning matches. Like if he's going to go to Raw and cash in eventually. Yeah,
he's going to have to. Yeah, Paige is still listed as part of the SmackDown brand. Oh, interesting. Wow. It's interesting. Yeah, she could come back. Maybe pretty cool. I'm surprised Impact Wrestling didn't put the Impact Knockouts champion on Thunder Rosa unless if it was for a one-time thing.
Diana's too good. Diana is the Roman Reigns of Impact Wrestling. She's incredible.
I would agree.
She's so good.
Yeah, I would agree. Chris Wrestling Views, I already think Vince is teasing something to AEW.
That's what you said at the start of the stream, didn't you?
They're working together, man. I'm telling you, there's a working relationship. There has to be. There just has to be. There's just too much. It's too many coincidences. And hey, Chris, how you doing, man? Thanks for joining us, bro. C Nation Dog. The best in the world tournament should have been a tournament to make a new star, but they gave it to old man like Shane McMahon because he deserved it. That's why C Nation, man, because he's the best in the world.
Because there's no long-term plans.
Exactly, and he's the best in the world. West Coast Pop, hey, what's up, West Coast Pop guys? Thanks for joining us. Great show, guys. On tomorrow's show, we'll be talking about a possible law passing that'll ban non-compete agreements in the U.S. Thoughts? I don't know. In terms of entertainment, because that's what wrestling is entertainment. In other aspects, other jobs, yeah, it doesn't make a ton of sense. Like if you work let's say you work as a carpenter and they give you a non-compete for something else, it doesn't really make us any sense. But in terms of entertainment, I understand it in wrestling terms because the guy's going to leave extremely hot after leaving WWE. He can show up the next day on the other programming. So they want to avoid that. So I think 30, 60 days is okay. I think 90 days is excessive.
Great question. And what I'm going to say to you, Anthony, though, as well, imagine they had these no non-compete clauses. They didn't have them. Do you still think we would have seen everybody leave WWE that was released this year?
Yes, I still think so. I don't.
So say they released Daniel Bryan, not his contract. He didn't get released. His contract expired. He could have just gone the next day. It would be like Lex Luger going to WWE Nitro, wouldn't it? It would be that type of thing.
Yeah, I think they want to.
It'd be fun. It'd be entertaining.
It'll be entertaining for us, but I think they want to avoid that. I think that's why. I think they want to avoid that. I think they want to avoid, and I think it makes sense to have that because it puts them in a kind of like in a weird spot because they can just leave and kind of show up in the next. They can just literally show up the next day on the other side and just have it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just
the way I kind of look at it is you had some wrestlers that were at WrestleMania this year, for example. If I'd put all that money and like build into hyping them, getting the characters over to get them at a WrestleMania, and then I guess it's my mistake for letting them go. But the fact you're going to do all that work and let them go, take that image somewhere else, it's you got to protect your property. Even if you're going to release it, you got to have some sort of protection of the property, I guess.
Yes, you do have to have some, even though they own all the rights to certain things like names, the gimmicks and stuff like that. It's in terms of the star that, let's say you release him because of you guys can't agree on a contract, on contractual stuff. Let's say you just have to release him for that, or he asked for his release because he's not being used properly. Like if that guy shows up the next night, it's a bigger impact than him showing up 90 days later.
Definitely, I agree with you, mate.
So you gotta have, I love the way you put it. You have to have some type of protection when it comes to your assets like that. Yeah, you have to. In the entertainment business, I would say I would do it like that. Mark, what would be the worst thing that AEW could do right now?
You're the expert, mate, at AEW. You're the expert of what's wrong with AEW.
I mean, the worst thing they could do right now is bring in everybody WWE. Let's go, and they've been doing that. In terms of not everybody like Mojo's and Buddy Murphy's, guys like that. I mean, just the big stars, they can't pile them all up because they don't even know what to do with them all.
It's a fair point. I guess the thing is you want to be pushing AEW pure talent rather than WWE rejects or not rejects, WWE releases, shall we say?
Yes. Yeah, because you want to push your own guys. You want to push the guys the company was built on. That who the company was supposed to be built for. You're not really doing that when you're bringing guys that have been molded and created and showcased by another company, WWE. Which you all claim to hate, like, oh, we hate WWE, they're terrible, you know what I'm saying, like that. So why would you bring all that in and build I understand the star power and the names that it brings, but still, it's like you have all these guys that the company was supposed to be built for and built on, but you're bringing these other guys that were coming from the evil corporation up in Connecticut.
Agreed.
TMS, thank you for joining us. Vince McMahon is a millionaire who should be a billionaire, and why he isn't a billionaire is because he surrounds himself with nonsensical yes men douchebags.
Fair point. I can't argue.
I think he is a billionaire, though, isn't he?
He probably is. He works probably like 17 hours a day every day, so like, he deserves his money.
He's worth his net worth is a billionaire. I mean, he has it all in assets, all that money, but he doesn't have like in the bank billions of dollars. But yeah, I mean, he does. It's tough when you're in that position. How do you who's gonna say no to you? You know what I'm saying? Like when you're in that position as like the top dog and you're a billionaire, a massive mogul in your industry, who really is gonna say no to you that you hire? I agree. C Nation Dog, I feel sorry for Alexa Bliss a little because fans will boo her for the Fiend Bray Wyatt's release, even though it's not her fault. We won't hear the boo, so don't worry about it. Maybe you should make it booed in person, but they will cheers. Yeah, based on what we've seen on Raw and SmackDown. Charlotte Flair just needs to win Money in the Bank contract to do everything in WWE. Yeah, so I think she's missing. Okay, so TMS says WWE is a billionaire. Vince isn't, but that was part of the CM Punk pipe bomb. Oh, okay, got you. The greatest promo of all time, still. So we got C Nation Dog. If I was Vince McMahon, I would just say I've been for WWE for a long time. It's time for me to retire. He's not gonna retire. He's gonna die, and then that's the only way he's gonna get out of there. 100%. The problem WWE have is that people will follow the likes of Bray Wyatt and Aleister Black to other companies. Me personally, I'm a massive Buddy Murphy fan, and I can't wait to see where he goes. I forgot about Buddy. Like, I'm surprised his contract's not up yet for the non-release clause, but good luck to him wherever he goes. TMS, it's crazy how much it still relates 10 years later. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, the more things change, the more they stay the same. So I'm pretty sure everything still kind of runs the same way CM Punk said they did back then. All right, so let's get to the final topic: SummerSlam initial card reactions. How you feeling about SummerSlam cards so far? Let's go through it. So let's go what we know that's kind of confirmed what's going to happen as well, what we believe. So let's go for the obvious matches: Reigns and Cena. That's obviously happening. Lashley Goldberg, obviously also happening. Edge Rollins. We've got the women's triple threat: Nikki Ash, Flair, Ripley, and then we've also got McIntyre versus Mahal. That's probably happening. The Raw tag team titles is obviously probably going to happen. That'll be built up on Monday this week when Randy Orton returns, which will be Orton and Riddle versus Styles and Omos. And then we've got Sheamus and Priest, and then we've got Sasha and Bianca. For me, that card at the moment looks incredible. Like, just in ring, it sounds really, really good. What's your initial thoughts on the matches? You see any others being added? Well, the Intercontinental title match, I would assume something like that, right? It's got to be on there. I hope so. Yeah, I would say. The only thing that makes me say maybe it isn't is the fact this show is meant to be 2.5 hours so people can go to the boxing after. Because it's a Saturday night show, isn't it? Remember? Yeah, it's going to happen at the same time as, well, so a title fight. Yeah, a title fight always goes on around like 10, 11. So the pay-per-view itself will probably start at 8, 9 o'clock. Probably get to the title fight 11, 11:30 by the entrances. You know, they'll be out there. Pacquiao will be out there. So they may want to try to set it up so people. I don't know if people could just kind of go from that one to the other ones. It'd be tough. I don't know how they're going to work it. It's an interesting choice to do it the same night, but I guess they assume a lot of people will be there. So That's why they're doing it. It's going to be interesting. Like I said, Intercontinental title match probably be on there. United States title will be on there. Obviously, Damian Priest versus Sheamus. SmackDown tag team titles, will it be, Ray and Dominic again against the Usos? And also, how do the Usos play into Cena and Reigns? I think that's the most interesting thing there as well. Goldberg is obviously going to take the L, I think. Edge, Rollins going to be great. In terms of what could be added, I don't really think there's much.
No, I don't think so. I think the thing with it, what's quite interesting is both main events are kind of similar. Like both the title matches are kind of the same storyline. It's the heel not even acknowledging the opponent, which is kind of interesting. But it's going to be fun in terms of like Edge and Rollins. Edge and Rollins for me is a great match. It's going to be incredible. Like I really want to see him go to like a Falls Count Anywhere or no DQ element to that, because I think it could be fun. Yeah,
it'll be pretty cool. Now it's interesting. T-Mass says I haven't watched WWE properly since Punk left. And now I will be an AEW fan. How much do you think it will bring people back?
I think it will bring certain people back that are synonymous with sort of CM Punk and stuff like that. But for me, I prefer AEW. I think AEW is like a lot better written. At least they're trying. At least they're putting some different stuff out there. There isn't rematches every single week. So I think you'll enjoy it. It's just down to who CM Punk's against. If he's against people like a Kenny Omega and stuff, I think that'll be incredible. Well, I think he's just going to be a dream match for me.
Yes, I agree as well. I think it'll bring. So I don't know too many people that left after Punk left, like they stopped watching it. I don't know too many people. TMS obviously being one of them who did. I think AEW is more your style. Probably you probably more enjoy it more. If CM Punk goes there, well, he obviously is. I just think they have no choice but to shotgun him while they get there. Like just shotgun him into the main event and have him doing a bunch of cool stuff, because again, I think it's gonna be a short-term boost. It's not gonna provide much if he's gonna be in the mid-card kind of doing kind of whatever, like Christian Cage is doing. I don't think it's gonna help either parties. So I think they got to shotgun him as soon as they get him there.
He's not there to elevate talent. He's there to be the main man, I think.
Yes, exactly. Perfectly said. Yep. Do you think Josh Alexander uses option C and beats Kenny Omega to win the Impact World Championship?
Great point. Really, really great analysis. Yeah, that is the one that I think should be Kenny Omega. I think Josh Alexander this year has been incredible. They need to get that belt off Kenny Omega. As we said, Kenny Omega needs to rest. He's injured. So for me, I think they need to do that. It's a sensible choice. And it's an Impact Wrestling homegrown style, so I'd be a fan of that.
Yeah, make more sense, but we could probably end this being Jay White being the guy to beat him. Silk, Edge, Rollins dream match, surely the most anticipated.
It's got a lot of build going into it. They put a lot of effort into it, so it's one of the matches which is so open who's going to win, which is nice. I love a match where you don't know who's going to win. It's not obvious.
Actually, what I like most about it is the fact that they're calling back from something that happened previously. So there's continuity. There's a thread being woven through this whole thing. Like it happened in 2014. He attacked Edge, and now they're calling back to it now because Edge has finally come back.
I agree.
I was disappointed at how they returned Keith Lee. We all were, brother. We all were upset with the way they returned him back. Not super happy about it. I mean, he did lose 2 champions in a row. That's the only kind of solace you could take in it.
Yeah, I just don't get why they just didn't have him beat like 2 easy opponents just to build him up. But it's great to see him back. That's the positive. We didn't think we'd see him back for a while, and he was off TV for so long. So it's positive to see him back. He just can't keep losing every week, though.
Yeah, definitely cannot be on the losing train every single week. If Seth Rollins beat Edge clean, it would make Roman Reigns look weak because he couldn't beat Edge clean.
Maybe nobody beats Roman Reigns though. That's the thing. We said that every
exactly.
week.
Yeah, I don't think it's not possible for him to look weak because he beats everybody. Martin Carrillo, what if Shane McMahon and CM Punk had a match, the best of the best in the world match? The only way to win is by calling yourself the best in the world 50 times. I think Shane gets there faster.
Let's book it. It can take up another hour and 20 minutes of Raw. Let's do it.
There you go. I think Shane wins it though, to be honest with you. TMS. Also, I think a lot of people watch the video because of nostalgia and stuff, and I think new eyes will definitely be on the product. I hope they use the storylines right.
Great point. I only watch WWE for nostalgia. Like I've obviously been a lifelong kind of fan, but it's tough at parts. Like I don't like to say it, but it is tough to watch. I think sometimes you do question why you're watching it. Like, but AEW is like a lot more fun. I think
it's a lot more fun. They have I've always said they have a ton of issues. AEW, a ton of issues and stuff they do that wrong that WWE does, but people don't call them out on it because it's not WWE. But they are the more fun show to watch because of how off the wall they are, and kind of they give you kind of everything. I don't like how they do a million moves in every single match and nothing beats anybody. I don't like that kind of stuff. But they are trying. I could give them credit for trying stuff that are outside the box, trying to be different and actually trying to be as unpredictable as possible.
At least they've got stables. That's the key thing for me. Growing up in like with loads of wrestling stables like the NWO DX and whoever else, the Four Horsemen stuff. Like we've got stables in AEW, whereas WWE we've got no stables at all.
But I think they have too many, and a lot of them are kind of useless. Like the Factory's useless, Nightmare Family's useless, Hardy Family Office is useless. The one with Nick Nemeth, whatever the one that made Mana, that's one's a real useless one.
There's quite a few, but I'd rather some than none. Like because we don't get any in WWE.
Yeah, NXT has. I think NXT is a little bit better. Like maybe,
actually, we got Hit Row to be fair.
Yeah,
NXT.
And the Gala Phantasm, I think it's solid, and I think that's it, but it's not bad. And Diamond Mine, Martin Carrillo, I would watch Raw if WWE brought back Ryback to do some mukbangs. I guess that might be kind of interesting. He's just in the crowd doing them. I guess I don't know. C Nation, no disrespect to Jungle Boy, but Christian Cage should have won the Battle Royal to face Kenny Omega for the World Championship. I'm not gonna lie, I love the build for Jungle Boy. He's been teased, he's been given like little opportunities here and there to showcase how much of a megastar he can be. Once he fills out, meaning his physical form, like he gets a little bit bigger because he's too small right now because obviously so young. Once he fills out his body, I think he's a massive star. I
agree. I think for me, he's similar to Riddle. He's in that same type of gimmick where we know he's talented, he's got the potential, just needs to get that extra layer to be able to become a world champion, really.
Yeah, he's got the callback to his dad. He looks just like his father, so yeah,
the entrance is cool as well.
Yeah, it's cool. I think he's gonna have to just go as Jack Perry when he finally becomes like a star in the singles and go for the championship. I think he's gonna be a mega star for AEW.
I agree.
But I've enjoyed thoroughly. I think that's the best thing AEW has done. The way they've built him slowly, as being the guy who you can see he is gonna be the main guy eventually. TMS Ryback would never come back, but I did like his work. TMS, I really think the New Day are coming to an end. Big E is going to go in his own way. I think that he's going to get drafted to Raw. I think they want to keep them together, not necessarily coming out together, but like on the same show so they can have backstage interactions, because I think whether they like it or not, or whether it was meant to be, they are going to be attached to the hip for the rest of their careers.
He's going to Raw. Like as I said, we said it like on episode 1 of our show. We said that he's going to Raw. He's got to be the one that beats Lashley. He's got the money back briefcase. He's not catching on Roman Reigns. And I think for me, it'd be great to see him back there. But yeah, I'd like to see him in a program. Really, I'd love to see him turn on the New Day, but I can't see it really. I think he's going to be a babyface for a while.
Yeah, I think so too. Breaking news, Justin, Rasslin Report from Zach. John Cena effing sucks. If you guys didn't know, now you know. C Nation thought WB is good, but sometimes they have bad booking. I think a lot more than sometimes. Yeah,
in ring it's fine, but the storylines and rematches are what the problem is.
Exactly. That's what it is. TMS, take Reigns out, Cena, Lashley. Maybe they don't have enough star power as compared to 10 years ago.
Great point. It's because they didn't build anyone else up. That's the trouble. That is the honest trouble. A lot of the problem is these wrestlers appear 1 week, they get over, and then they're not used again, and then they lose. And it's just they put themselves in impossible matches. As we said earlier in the video, they put themselves in impossible matches like this Keith Lee Karen Cross match. There was no need to put these two against each other. Anybody with a brain could see these are two people that need to win a match.
Exactly. Yeah, well said. Yeah. I mean, like the premise, I came out a video this week. The premise is the problem WWE has with Roman Reigns is the fact that they haven't built anybody to even compete with him. So they
had a whole year to build somebody up, like
exactly
organically.
So it's just going to be him beating the roster in the mid pay-per-views. Then when it gets to the big four, he's going to have to take on a legend, because what else are you going to do with it?
Yes, shame. And the fact you have to go back to Goldberg as well, because you did exactly the same on Raw, not built anybody up.
Exactly. It's the same thing on Raw. It's just Reigns is just that much. It's just better than Lashley in terms of star power, and it's just like it's tough. It's like it's on WWE. They didn't build anybody to either take either guy out. C Nation, there are way more factions in AEW than tag teams. Yes, that's just faction mania over there. Some people call Ryback Cryback. Some people might say the same thing about CM Punk too. Mark, a faction in WWE called Lunch Break includes Hot Dog, Mistress, Ham, and Sandwich. I don't know what I'm saying, to be honest. WWE booking, ladies and gentlemen, giving them great ideas.
Oh my God.
You've put it out there in the ether, it may happen.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, to be honest with you. If they're watching, it may happen. How is Edge the rated R superstar in a PG era?
I think for longevity, let's look at some of the matches he had. Well, that match with Mick Foley at that WrestleMania was incredible. Where there's the flaming table, and he's just one of them stars. He's an Attitude Era star that's been there, that went away, come back. Even in 2021, he's so relevant. It's amazing.
But he can't be the same in the era that they are now. So,
of course he can't.
Like, it kind of is what it is. I mean, I think he's more of the rated R superstar in terms of him being dastardly and doing whatever it takes to win and stuff like that.
I think the Jack Nicholson unorthodox, like losing his mind, not knowing what's coming next, as you said, the uncertainty.
Exactly, yeah. TMS, in my opinion, Rey Mysterio should have never returned. I don't think Dominic work is good, but Rey isn't the same.
I I don't know. He's got to mentor him because Dominic was green at the start. He's obviously getting better and better. I think Mysterio's is still quite a good part of the WWE roster, so I'm a fan of it. I think they've done a great job to fix the mess that was there with Aaliyah and whatever else last year that we had to endure. Was this year's been much better so far.
Yeah, this year has much better. I do.
Bear in mind, last year he was losing his eye and stuff. There's nonsense like that as well.
The never-ending storyline that was that against Rollins and the whole crew. I like Dominic and Ray. I'm a mark for the father-son team thing. Like, I like that. I think that's cool. I think it's a cool aspect to add to it. It's real. I think it's good stuff, to be honest with you. So let's get to the end of these comments and we're about to finish up. What's your thoughts on the likes of Pete Rosenberg, for example, critiquing fans for having an opinion on Cross bad booking when he is employed by WWE? I mean, he's obviously probably, talking for them, and obviously
getting paid. Well, I'm not really, if WWE were paying me $1 million, I would be defending them. Even if I don't think it, you would just go along with it, wouldn't you? Let's be fair.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. You can't really blame him. He's getting paid by them. So, CMA stand cry man's Punk. Yeah, it probably does. And to be honest with you,
gimmick.
Yeah, I'm feeling we're gonna have a sequel for Goldberg trying to win the WWE Championship, leading into him finally winning it and defending it.
Oh no, definitely not. If Goldberg beats Lashley at SummerSlam, honestly, I think it could be emotional.
Yeah, Dominic Mysterio should have faced Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship and Hell in a Cell on SmackDown because it would have made Dominic Mysterio a star. I think maybe it would have been better off him getting his ass handed to him by Roman Reigns. Might have been a better look than Ray doing it. Before you finish, I wish Punk beat the Streak, considering it did it a year later anyways. Was he the right guy? I don't think so, because he wasn't the right guy.
He's never there. Like he hasn't been in wrestling properly since 2014. I know that if he'd have won the streak, he may have stayed around, but I think the right person.
Yeah, Brock was the right guy because the run he went on afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Bray could have been fun. Like if they would have done it.
It could have been because it could have been like a passing the torch kind of thing. But but in terms of what Brock did afterwards, I think
he went on a ridiculous
sense.
run.
Yeah. I actually think Chick Magnet is what he used to be in a team called Chick Magnet. Yeah, I think he said CM Punk. CM, it sounds for Chick Magnet, but Cry Man sounds all right. All right. So that is the stream we have for you guys today. That is everything we got through, a bunch of topics covering everything that happened this week in professional wrestling. I appreciate everybody for joining us in the chat, all your wonderful comments, opinions, and questions, and all that good stuff. Appreciate everybody for being in here. Appreciate Jonesy for coming back on and joining me again for episode number 4, a big episode with Bray Wyatt and everything. But check out Jonesy Chats Wrestling on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. Check out all the content he's dropping. Also, I have the pros and cons video coming out of CM Punk and Daniel Bryan joining AEW. I have the problem with Roman Reigns video that dropped earlier this week. Make sure you check that one out. We appreciate everybody for tuning in for this one, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.